Welcome to the Athletes Unlimited Softball League Inaugural Draft. The league structure is set. The team names are solidified, but the rosters are empty. GMs and coaches are in place, but it all goes down tonight. The women selected will make history by establishing not only the identities of their team, but also establishing the longevity of this league. We have 4 teams that have been decided. The rosters, not yet, and we have 2 incredible legends to help break it all down. I'm Andrea Carter, joined by Amanda Scarborough and Danielle Laurie. Amanda, I'm gonna start with you. Texas A&M standout pitcher, first student athlete in Big 12 history to be named not only Freshman of the Year, but Player of the Year in the same season. You're an A&M Hall of Famer, and you're an incredible analyst dedicated to growing the game. So on a night where historical growth is happening, how are you feeling?
Well, you just summed up everything perfect, Drea, and it's such an honor to be here with you two and everybody who's behind us and tuning in, because today, this is about history being made. I mean, you can just tell that this draft is different. This league is going to be different. The names, the legacies of the people who are involved, and everything that AU has put into softball up to this point, and amongst the 3 other sports that they do as well. There is no corner cut. They put everything into the sport. It's unprecedented. So what we're about to see, I feel like with this draft in this league, it's just going to take off. And we're going to look back at this as day 1, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, and this is just the start. And it's just exciting. I have goosebumps. I'm not even getting drafted today. I'm nervous. I have butterflies. I have goosebumps all over, because this is a huge deal, what we're about to see today.
It's incredible. You said unprecedented. There's literally a clean slate when it comes to the league, when it comes to the teams. Danielle, you have seen so much softball. You are a University of Washington Husky Hall of Fame pitcher, 2009 Women's College World Series champion and most outstanding player that season, 2-time Olympian, a pro softball champion, and probably your proudest accomplishment, you're a wonderful mother of 2. When you have seen all the opportunity that softball has given you, how would you describe this opportunity tonight?
The last couple of days, especially this morning, I kind of woke up and it felt like game day. Like I had game day type jitters. And I think obviously this is a historic day for the women in sport and the ones that have continued to keep paving the way for it to get to this place. But I think about when I first got the opportunity to even be here with Athletes Unlimited in 2020 behind the mic, the unknown of what that whole season was going to be with COVID. And you had 60+ athletes that committed to that unknown and then have just continued to keep grinding and grinding. And I think what I love the most is the fact that I have 2 daughters that both play softball, that this is a league that they could potentially look up to wanting to be a part of. And you cannot deny the GMs and the head coaches and the names that they put in this league. It's absolutely incredible. Kim Ng, of course, but these GMs and these head coaches, that gets me excited.
It's actually amazing to see all the GMs and coaches that they're sitting there. I wonder how they're feeling. We're going to get to them in just a second, but that's what's new to this softball league, because Athletes Unlimited has been a player-based league where a player earns individual points and success. But let's get into the structure of this league, because we have gotten back to traditional softball. So for the league overview of what Athletes Unlimited Softball League is bringing, there are going to be 2 parts, a regular season and an All-Star Cup. The regular season is what we are focused on here. 48 games over the course of 2 months, culminating in a team championship. And the key additions: coaches, general managers, set rosters, and again, a team champion. So the rosters aren't changing from week to week. The players aren't in nearly as much control. You've been a part of Athletes Unlimited from the beginning. What does this mean for the players?
I think it's everything that they knew growing up playing the game. The unique point system is what made Athletes Unlimited stand out to a lot of people, but now you're going to peel back the layers and you're going to go back to the GMs and the head coaches getting to make some big decisions. Listen, you have 82 athletes that are fighting for a spot, 48 spots tonight. Some hearts are going to get broken. It's a part of how this is going to be. It's what makes it feel big. It gives you that MLB draft type feel. So I think it's special, and I'm excited to see how it goes down.
Well, and think about about the development that these athletes who play in this league are about to have, being coached by the people who are behind us and around the minds and the mentality, I mean, the physical, the mindset, all of it. So the development that these athletes are going to get, to me, is just going to skyrocket the competition level, the games, the new rivalries that we've had, that we will have, that we've never had before. Like, the way that this is set up is that traditional feel, and now the fans can find which team that they want to cling on to, just like you feel with like maybe an NFL team or MLB or WNBA, whatever it is. Like, we're going to have that same feel that we've never had before in a really big way.
And for the first time ever. Like you said, it's not like these GMs are bringing players into a team that's already established. They are establishing their teams. I'm looking at this list, 20 pitchers, right? 17 outfielders, 10 catchers. If you put your GM hat on, I didn't even name all the positions, what's going to be a premium tonight? Like, where does your mind go to first?
Well, I think that you have to realize this is not like the drafts that we're used to seeing on ESPN, where you're just pulling college players and filling in some gaps or looking toward the future to fill in a couple of key holes. I mean, these teams are starting completely from scratch, and maybe your decisions might be different if they already had a team of 16 players or 14 players and you're filling in the hole for who might go first. But we know that there's going to be a premium on pitching, Danielle, because that's what our game is all about. The game starts in the circles, so I think that that's going to be a really big priority early on.
And I think what makes this so fun is you don't know who's going to go where. So these GMs and coaches have an idea of who they want, and they might be off the table. But when it comes to the pitching piece, I do think that pitchers are going to go first. I think it's important to be able to get the big dog. If you want to go far, you need to try to get a pitcher that can win a 7-inning game in this league. And that's what makes this so hard. These hitters are so damn good. What are the pitchers that can stand out and give me 7 innings and potentially be able to go again tomorrow and be able to adjust against the hitting in the league? Because it is tough.
Well, Andrea, as nervous as the GMs and the coaches are, think about putting yourself in the athlete's perspective. They don't know where they're going to go. They're going to have new teammates. Who are they going to play for? Like, there's that other side to things too, that they're all sitting watching and they're really nervous about where they're going to go.
We're not going to call out the pitcher bias here. We're gonna leave that alone. But you mentioned some of the top dogs in a minute. Let's get into it. Who is your eye on when it comes to this draft?
Well, she has a great name because her name is Amanda Lorenz. So obviously we had to put her first, but she just came off of a championship season where she won it all. She swung the bat extremely well for power. I mean, she just looked in top-notch shape, Danielle.
Well, and Deja Mulipolo to me is someone that stands out. Not only her presence behind the dish, but she was the first position player to win it. You know, it's usually been a pitcher. So for me, not only the catcher piece in that importance, but she's an offensive threat, no doubt.
And then Rachel Garcia, one of the best two-way players in the game, the way that she pitches with velocity and speed, and the way that she can swing the bat too. The ball flies off of her bat. She's so strong.
Well, and don't even get me started with Bubba Nichols. And the reason why I think she's going to be a hot take in this draft is you can put her anywhere. Not only can you rely on her offensively to make the big adjustments, but she could play anywhere on the field, I think.
And I think you're familiar with Sis Bates, right, Danielle? I mean, she's been holding down the fort over at shortstop, making highlight reel play after highlight reel play. People love to show up to the ballpark to watch that smile and watch her play.
And I know a lot of people have shown up tonight to see where these superstars are going to land in this league. And here's the draft outline. So 48 total picks. Again, 82 very talented players, 48 spots, 12 rounds, 4 picks each. These legendary GMs and coaches will have 2.5 minutes per pick. Every team will pick first 3 times, and the Bandits will have the very first pick. And we are honored to be joined by the person leading the launch of Athletes Unlimited Softball League, and Kim Ng. And Kim, you are an incredible sport executive. You've already been a trailblazer as the first woman GM for a men's professional sport on the MLB side. What about this league made you want to trailblaze for softball?
I guess I can sum it up as this. These are my peeps. So, I mean, I grew up playing softball, come from a great softball playing family. 4 of my sisters played, 3 of us played in college. And so these are, you know, women that I've fought for my entire career. And I guess as Sue Enquist has put it to several, she's one of us.
Okay, so you've been in these GM shoes on a draft day. What would be some tips for them for how to go about this?
Right, so I think in terms of picks, I think you're always trying to look and see how much value, you want to get the most value you can in each pick. And I think a lot of that has to do with supply, you know, the caliber, amount of caliber you have at each position. And then it's also trying to anticipate what your opponents / colleagues are going to try and do. So I think it's a really interesting mix here. A lot of these general managers and staff have played with each other, and I'm sure bantered about over the years about the types of team they would build. So I think there's a little bit of that involved here.
Kim, when we had the opportunity to talk with some of these GMs, I think what stood out the most to me in these calls was they said they wanted to be a part of it when you put your name on this product. So how does that feel for you, knowing that these types of names, they look at you and you've been a trailblazer in this, industry, and now you get to be a part of this?
So first of all, it's incredibly humbling. And then I guess I would say that it makes me think that my entire career was not for naught at all. And that, these women and with the accolades that they have and the accomplishments that they've been able to put forth, for them to believe in me and in this league says it all. And this is a great thing for our sport right now.
Well, I do know you are an absolute pillar when it comes to confidence. I am curious, how many of these GMs have called your phone, like for tips and advice, and which one has called your phone the most? You don't have to give away that information at all. We won't put any of these GMs on blast, but we are so thankful that you're a part of this league, and we really are thankful for you joining us here on set.
Thank you all. May the force be with us tonight.
It'll be great. We will check in with all of these GMs in just a little bit. And here is the draft order. Bandits will pick first, followed by the Blaze, then the Talons, and the Volts following up. Again, this is the start of Athletes Unlimited Softball League, something we have not seen before. These teams, you see the logos, you see the team colors. What you don't see are the team members. And this is where the draft rooms are. So all of these incredible GMs and coaches are spread out around the country in their draft rooms, impatiently waiting. I'm not sure how they're feeling, and that's why we're gonna welcome them in. Let's head out to San Diego, California to welcome in the Bandits coach, Stacy Newman-Denise, two-time Olympic gold medalist, two-time Mountain West Coach of the Year, and the Bandits GM, Jenny Dalton-Hill, three-time Women's College World Series champion, Women's College World Series Most Outstanding Player, Pac-12 Player of the Year, National Player of the Year. The list goes on and on. And Jenny, the Bandits were a beloved softball franchise with a deep following. What does it mean to reintroduce the Bandits brand with the first pick in this draft?
I just think it's so exciting that the Bandits name stays with us, and we get to bring one of their coaches along the ride, right? Stacy was able to coach within that organization, so she gets to stay true to the brand. And Bandits are ready for that first pick. We're excited to be able to look at this list of players and make our name known right away.
Okay, so let's also talk about the elephant in the room with Arizona and UCLA, bitter rivals, and all the history that you guys have amongst those programs. And now you guys get to be teammates. So how have you guys worked together so far, Jenny? And what's it like to be together now on the same team?
I think the cool part about Stacy and I being able to work together is we've both been able to play within championship programs. And because of that, we've held the bar very high. And because of the bar being set high, we're going to expect that out of our players. And the conversations have been, honestly, very amicable. We have not had any fistfights yet tonight. Maybe on TV that'll go a different way. But more than anything, I love the fact that we've been able to have that camaraderie of championship mindset behind the scenes and know that now moving forward, we're able to be in the same team.
You know, a fist fight would be great for ratings. I'm sure they would skyrocket, but we will settle for you setting the bar very high with your first pick. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We will get back to you for your pick, and we're gonna go on to the Blaze next, who will have the second pick in the first round. And we're gonna start with Coach Elisa Goller, entering her 5th season as the head softball coach at Western Illinois University. She was Rookie of the Year in 2011 and a 2-time All-NPF team member, also a 3-time All-American at the University of Georgia. Tons of success as a player, Coach Goller, and the GM, Dana Sorensen. Stanford Pitching Hall of Famer, outstanding player, coach, performance trainer. Dana, you have seen success in every area of the game. Success starts tonight for you as the GM of the Blaze. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think we're pretty excited. I mean, I think we're a little biased. I love the position that we're in with we get the 2nd overall and the 5th overall pick. So it's given us some flexibility to think about a few different scenarios. But Elisa and I have had some really good conversations, and we're ready to start building our roster out.
Dina, I know at times people talk about the analytics and the data. I love the movie Moneyball. How much is going in to play when it comes to that data piece and when you're trying to choose and select your team?
I think it's a huge element for this league. We have 4 teams, so we have a lot of repeated matchups. So hitters facing pitchers multiple times. So where's the edge that we can get? How can we mix and match? How can we keep people off balance? How can we build diversity with our staff? I think it's a challenge, but it's a fun one, and I really do believe that the numbers can help give us an edge and maybe see things from a lens that not everybody is used to seeing. So maybe we'll shock a few people along the way with our Moneyball style.
An analytical lens that stirs things up Moneyball style. I am 110% here for it. Ladies, thank you so much. We'll get back to you for the 2nd pick, and the talks with the GMs and coaches continue. We are going to head out to talk to the Talons. So we have Howard Dobson as our coach, fearless leader out on the field, spent the last 13 seasons as an assistant coach at LSU, helped LSU's offense surge to new records and recognitions. Also, 10+ years with Team USA softball, including a silver medal at the 2020 Olympics. And the Talons GM, Lisa Fernandez, one of the most recognizable names in the history of softball, 3-time Olympic gold medalist, over 25 years coaching at UCLA after an unbelievable career as a Bruin. Lisa, after all that you've already established, what made you want to add to your legacy with Athletes Unlimited Softball League and the Talons as the GM?
But just having the opportunity to, place the game and put it at a higher level. As an athlete, you want to leave the game better than when you started. And so to be able to be a part and to see this sport continue to grow and now have athletes that can have a place to play post-college, I wanted to be a part, and I wanted to jump in and see what we can do together.
Lisa, you're known for your mentality and how you coach at UCLA, how you played all those years, but how will mentality play a part for how you guys are going into this draft and what you're looking for in players?
These athletes are so talented. There is a physical part of a game, but there is a mental part of the game, and this game is a game of failure, so you have to be resilient. You have to be able to rebound and bounce back, and considering what these athletes are going to have to go through with the games that are going to be played at the level and the intensity, that's going to be one of the big challenges. So mentality is super important. Getting leadership and all those factors play a big part in the athletes you choose.
Lisa, we know that these athletes will learn so much under you and Coach Dobson, so best of luck to you too, and we will get back to you for your pick. Last team, ladies, y'all good? You ready? We got one more? Yeah. We got one more, and this will be the Volts out in Austin, Texas. Kelly Kretschmann will be the coach. She's not with us tonight, but she was a member of Team USA's 2004 and 2008 Olympic teams after an outstanding career at Alabama, and we are joined with the GM, Kat Osterman, who has an incredible career of her own, 3-time Olympian, 4-time All-American, 3-time National Pro Fast Pitch Champion MVP after an incredible career at Texas. And Kat, you were also the first ever Athletes Unlimited champion, now in charge of leading one of the first ever Athletes Unlimited Softball League franchises. How are you feeling tonight?
It's a dream come true, and I absolutely loved the first 2 seasons of Athletes Unlimited and wanted to stay involved. And so when AUSL was announced, it was a no-brainer to try to be involved as much as possible. But really excited to be in this position. I think if you would have told little me, it would not have been something I thought was possible. But here we are, and just really excited for the next generation of softball talent to have a place to call home.
Kat, I know you obviously have a rich history with Kelly Kretschmann. I mean, you've gone to Olympic Games together, you've played professionally together. Talk about that connection and that piece and how cool it is that you get the chance to be a part of this with one of your really good friends.
Yeah, I was actually on the advisory board before I decided to throw my name in the hat to be a GM. But once we went through the process and it was determined that I was going to be a GM, Kim actually was like, so I'm going to guess you want to be with Kelly, because I was very adamant that Kelly be part of this league. And a lot of it's, one, her softball knowledge, but two, just the intensity she brings and how much she can share with athletes. She will allow this group of athletes to really grow because she just has knowledge that sometimes is unteachable. It's innate for her. But her and I have a competitive intensity that it mirrors each other. Sometimes it's not always the greatest. We can get at each other's throats a little bit, but I think so far here we've been on the same page. We're super excited to be working together, and I think that intensity will come out with our team.
Kat, you mentioned being unteachable, and something that you can't teach is being one step ahead of the competition, and I think you were that with your outfit choice. Can we see the inside of the blazer before we let you go?
I might have been dreaming this up for a little bit, so you got the Volts logo on the inside.
I love it.
An absolute excellent choice that will hopefully bring you and your franchise a lot of success on this big night. Kat, we will get back to you, but for now, the Bandits are on the clock for the first pick in this league to kick everything off. If you're evaluating the very first pick, think about it, not just to start the Bandits, but to start Athletes Unlimited Softball League. What are you thinking?
Well, Trey, I mean, it's just such a huge deal. You're not just a pick in just a random year, which is always a huge deal, right? To be the #1 overall pick, even when it's just college players that you're up against. But you're up against, Danielle, the best of pro players that are getting drafted tonight. So I just can't help but think about like how big of a deal that is to be this overall #1 pick in this draft.
And to want to be a part of history, but I also think you can't take the dog out of the athlete. That's what makes them competitors. They want to be the best. They want to be that #1 pick. Like, there's something about that makes this so unique and so special. So it can go many different ways, as we know. I mean, we may be a little pitcher biased up here, but you have to have solid pitching to kind of really start out something like this. So I don't know, I'm kind of leaning a little pitcher heavy.
And we already talked about, with so much talent, you all have said there are probably a lot of players that are at home thinking I should be the #1 overall pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how talented this pool is.
Yeah, it's so high, and you have so many different pitchers to choose from. So the coaches are going to.
And with that, right? So many to choose from, but the Bandits have already chosen. So with the first pick in round 1, let's send it out to the Bandits.
Bandits select pitcher Lexi Kilfoyle.
Ooh. Lexi Kilfoyle. The very first pick. Amanda, you were smiling big.
Well, you just love Lexi Kilfoyle's drop ball and literally how she can put it all different levels on both sides of the plate and stay down in the zone. And so when you're going to stay down in the zone, you're likely to keep the ball in the ballpark. And the hitters in AU are so talented. There's so much offense, Danielle. You have seen it for years. So being able to mix speeds like she can and keep the ball down is huge.
Well, and I also think you have to look at pitching as a whole. What is the main kind of trend? And to me, it's the heavy up pitchers that throw 70+ miles an hour. So Lexi Kilfoyle brings something unique to the table. She throws 70 down. If you can keep the ball in the park against these hitters, good things happen. And you cannot take away the fact that what her numbers were last year in that type of a format where she maybe had to make some big decisions coming up out of college. It's different. Now she's going back to being kind of told what to do, and I think that's really going to benefit her and help her a lot.
Can we talk about the past 12 months for Lexi Kilfoyle and just going back to the beginning of her senior year? She had an incredible senior year, but she started at Alabama, then went to Oklahoma State, and she was the #2 behind Montana Fouts and then behind Kelly Maxwell. Then she becomes the #1 in her senior year, and she has an unbelievable year. Top 3 finalists for National Player of the Year, and the way that she brought it into the professional league. I mean, this is why people want her, because they saw what she could do as a #1 finally in these past 12 months. And it is big things, going deep into a game and being able to keep the ball in the ballpark.
So you're sort of saying she was ready to be this #1 overall pick.
Well, and when I saw her at AU last year with her folks, seeing her mom and how proud she was, so I cannot imagine her parents right now with this situation and having 2 girls. This is a proud moment for mom and dad, for sure.
Absolutely. And with that, the Blaze are ready. The pick is in. We're going to send it out for round 1, pick #2. Let's send it to the Blaze.
We are selecting pitcher Carly Hoover.
Carly Hoover, another pitcher selected. How are you feeling, Danielle?
I feel like that's a great choice. Listen, to me, Carly Hoover is an absolute dog. She's a dark horse. You've seen this young lady go and play at LSU, of course, but then she went over to Japan and she learned a lot. When you go over there, you get humbled, you learn, you have to be better. And I think this is such a cool thing that she's gone over. She's put in the work. She put her name in the pool of draftees. And she's a number 2 pick overall. I mean, 6'2", 70 down. We got 2 hard down pitchers right out of the gate.
I mean, she is feeling like she just gets on top of you with how hard that she throws and her long levers. And nobody has seen her. We heard that from a lot of the GMs strategizing how big of a pick that Carly Hoover would be, because she's been working her tail off in Japan and getting better in that great league, but now she's going to be bringing her talents here, and nobody has seen her. And these offenses are really good, so to be able to give that fresh look, I know Dana Sorensen, who will be her GM, and Elisa Goller are going to be pumped to have her.
It seems like these GMs are just ready. You know, you mentioned Carly Hoover. You also said she's always tinkering and changing things, which is going to add another element. And with that, as much as we want to talk about Carly Hoover, the 3rd pick is in of this draft. Let's send it out to the Talons.
With the 3rd pick of the draft, the Talons select Megan Faremo, pitcher.
Congratulations to Megan Faremo, ladies.
Yeah, and this is a pitcher who, you know, projected-wise, Danielle and I even had some fun last night just picking the top 4, and we both individually selected Megan Faremo as a number 1 overall pick because of how she's done so well in the league the past couple of years, and she just had that little bit of edge of experience over somebody like Lexi Kilfoyle, but she's going to give a different look than what the first 2 pitchers who have been drafted in Hoover and Kilfoyle will, Danielle.
Well, and Rookie of the Year last year, I think, stands out to me, but the biggest thing is getting the opportunity to go over, play a little bit in Japan, learn about yourself. Listen, what separates you as a pitcher in this league is your ability to understand how to make adjustments against these hitters. They do not strike out a lot, and that can be daunting on a pitcher. All of these pitchers are ones that are used to being those strikeout pitchers and have success. So how are you able to find a way to get hitters out, adjust, and hopefully have some success? Because we know the hitters are tough.
Well, did you see the smile on Lisa Fernandez's face, too, when she said Megan Faremo? Remember, Megan Faremo played at UCLA, worked with Lisa Fernandez there. She's on staff at UCLA. I mean, this is a united bond. They know each other very well. So Lisa Fernandez seemed pretty perky saying Megan Faremo.
Well, that was one thing that you talked about. How much will familiarity come into play with who these GMs are selecting? But I know another thing when it comes to Megan that you've talked about is how competitive she is and how much of a workhorse she is. How important is that for this league?
She is such a workhorse. She works so hard. She can go deep into games, and she threw a no-hitter this past summer, which, again, a no-hitter against this quality and level of competition and level of hitters is just unbelievable, and goes to show that's why she's a first-rounder, because she can go deep into games like that.
Well, and being able to have short-term memory is so important, because you're going to get beat up at times in this league. So to be able to have that short-term memory, know how to make those adjustments and come back the next day stronger, to me, she's someone that stands out in that category.
Yeah. Short-term memory, you've got to be resilient. I know all these GMs are looking for players like that. And with round 1, the 4th pick is in. Let's send it out to the Volts.
With the 4th pick, the Volts pick pitcher Rachel Garcia, one of the 2-way players in this league, a proven winner. We're excited to build around her.
Kat Osterman had something ready for Rachel Garcia. Congratulations, Rachel. And Danielle, you're shaking your head hard.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, and not only has she earned her stripes in the collegiate game and has played AU over the course of the last couple of years, but what I really think is she's going to thrive more in the traditional GM, head coach, telling me what to do all the time, right? Like, you know that point system model, these athletes are making the decisions. Now it's the head coaches and the GM. So I think that's a different level of brings you back to, hey, keeps me humbled, keeps me going. So I'm really excited to see her go over there, play with Kat Osterman, play with Kelly Kretschmann, and more importantly, the versatility. You have someone that you can drop first base, has the stick, and more importantly, has the confidence to be able to throw some big games 70+ miles an hour.
Well, and now's a great time to talk about it, as it's the first two-way player who can do a lot of things, of just how essential that is to be a player that can be put in multiple positions, a pitcher who can hit for herself so that you don't have to pull a hitter off of the bench and hit for her. You can have some flexibility in other positions in your lineup, maybe go heavier on a defensive shortstop maybe, or an outfielder who's really good defensively but maybe doesn't swing the bat as well, because you have Rachel Garcia who can do both for herself. So the fact that Rachel Garcia, I just always go back to how strong she is, the velocity that she throws with, and the way that the ball flies off of her bat, it just sounds different. And so when you have her in your everyday offensive lineup too, even if she's not going to hit a home run, a hard ground ball becomes a hit, a way to get on base past the bat.
You know, one thing, Danielle, you talked about was her extreme power. You've been able to see that from her.
Well, and she's the baby goat. I mean, she learned from one of the best in Lisa Fernandez. So she's a real one.
I know the pick is in, but we are going to take a look back at round one just to make sure that we see all of the pitchers, right? Because you all talked about pitchers being a premium. So is that what stands out to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And the speed at which these coaches, knew what they wanted to do, and with their first round pick, it just was a whirlwind. I don't think the other rounds are going to be quite like that, but yeah, pitcher heavy here, and a different variety too, with the strength of each different pitcher.
Well, and setting the foundation of what you're looking for. And now knowing, hey, this is the pitcher that I'm able to get, it starts to open up. Now what am I looking for if I go for another pitcher? Who can complement this pitcher? Can they have a little bit of a different repertoire? Those are the things you're going to start to see as the rounds go on. But these are those big dog pitchers that they're hoping to be able to go and pitch a lot of innings, right? That's what it comes down to. This league is tough. These hitters are hardcore. What pitchers can you rely on? And I think they made the right choice in these top four.
The first players and the first pitchers for these teams has been established, and the teams are ready for round two, pick 5. Let's send it to the Blaze.
With our second pick, we are selecting pitcher Alicia Ocasio.
Alicia Ocasio, congratulations, Danielle. You said she is one heck of a two-way player.
Well, and she can do so many things. I mean, you can put her in the outfield. Not only that, I mean, I've seen her play defense with the best of them in the circle. You can throw her at first base, potentially over at third if you needed to, but it's the confidence. I think what I admire about Alicia Ocasio is just I continue to see her keep evolving, and she's that AU champion. We saw her do it, that two-way player. I think these are such big picks to make, because when you're trying to make these 16-team rosters, you don't have a whole lot of positions to choose from. So what player am I able to get that can give me bang for my buck? And that to me is like an Alicia Ocasio, because you can rely on her stick. And then I think also you know what you're going to get in the circle.
Well, and let's think about how she complements Carly Hoover. Carly Hoover comes at you with this power, and the ball gets on you, and she is going to be mainly down but can bring the ball more up in the zone. And Alicia Ocasio is going to be crafty, spinny, be able to change speeds like crazy. I mean, the way that she's been able to manipulate the ball in the past is what sticks out to me. So those two pitchers complement each other so well.
Yeah, I know, Danielle, you said she was dirty, right? Like, dirty in a good way. Like, dirty can be sort of the best compliment that you can give a player.
Well, and she just has multiple off speeds, and I think that to me, and you make such a good point, being able to go off of someone like Carly Hoover and change speeds that way, you start to understand why they're going to make the picks that they pick.
And the picks continue to be made for round two, pick 6. Let's send it to the Talons.
With the 6th pick, the Talons select pitcher Georgina Korik.
Georgina Clark headed to the Talons. Ladies, how would you describe Georgina Clark's game?
I love the way that Georgina Court goes out and just competes. She's another pitcher that goes out and can go deep into games, and her changeup always sticks out to me. You can see it in this package. It just fools hitters because she sells it. She doesn't let it show at all in her motion and how she throws it, mix it in on any count. So when I think of Georgina Corrick, I think of somebody who can go deep into games because of that changeup. And she goes and competes. Danielle, you were talking about how Alicia Ocasio goes and evolves and grows and develops. Georgina Corrick loves pitching. She's so intelligent, finds little nuances and ways to get better.
Well, and I think you know it because you call it. Like, she was kind of one of the last big dog players that really practically threw every single inning in the college game, right? Like, had over 1,300 Ks. Like, she was that last solidified player where you're like, damn, if there's an opportunity, you know the ball is going to be given to Georgina Corrick. So I remember watching her last season. She threw some really big clutch innings for some captains, and that's the type of stuff that stands out, that gutsy performance. You know you can throw them out there and you can rely on them. So I think that's a solid pick, and I think that it complements well with what they got.
Yeah,
Danielle,
sure.
you said that you felt like she was going to get drafted higher than people think in Georgina Corrick. And I know, Amanda, one thing you also said was she works quickly in between her pitches. How is that useful to a team?
It just keeps the defense engaged. Like, it doesn't keep, and there is a pitch clock in between pitches with AU and U, but it just seems like you're always just trying to catch up with her. So it keeps the defense really engaged back behind her. And
it gets you excited, right? It gets you excited.
Well, and I hear the chime, and I'm like, okay, that means to like stop talking. It's like wrap it up. So let's get to the next one.
It does mean that. It means we are going for round 2, pick 7. We send it to the vaults.
With the 7th pick, the Vaults pick outfielder Amanda Lorenz. Who can deny the best hitter in the game right now?
And that is exactly what you two have both talked to me about with Amanda Lorenz.
Well, it's Lizzo style, right? It's about damn time. Like, she's that type of hitter that can change the dynamic of a game in one swing of the bat. And it's not like you can sit here and say that she shouldn't be a first-round pick. She is that good. But when it comes to starting from ground zero, you have to be able to go with those arms. So it's not like it's a side dig at someone like Amanda Lorenz. Her bat speaks for itself. She is by far and was one of my absolute favorites to watch at Florida, and then getting to see her be an absolute pro on and off the field. Her work, her grind in the off season, I admire that piece. You know, that's one of my favorite things. When you see those athletes working, it just gives you that little bit of, oh, and no wonder they have the numbers that they do in the summertime, because you see them put in that work, and she is that workhorse.
Well, she's left-handed, right? So she's coming from the left-hand side to give a lot of right-handed pitchers that are in the league just a different look. And it's not every day that you have that left-handed power and average. And even last summer, she added a little bit of speed to her game. She ran out like several infield singles because she had gotten into such good shape, which helped her defense and just added some elements to her offense as well. But I mean, her mentality, her big moment mentality is truly what separates Amanda Lorenz, and always has. She got to Florida with that big moment mentality, and it's only just been consistent and stayed with her as a pro.
And when you think about the team, the Volts, right, a surge of power is what this team is supposed to represent, which I feel like Amanda Lorenz fits right into perfectly. It's so fun watching all of the GMs and coaches as they talk to each other, and as you can see their minds start to work. But I do believe round 2, pick 8 is in. We're going to send it to the Bandits.
Excited to give you the 2nd pick for the Bandits. Pitcher, Taylor McQuillan.
Pitcher, another pitcher selected. We talked about the importance of pitchers. It seems like the Bandits continue to establish that.
Well, and the first lefty that you're seeing go out on the board, there's not a whole lot of left-handed pitchers. So I think when you see someone like Taylor McQuillan, who's just continued year to year with Athletes Unlimited, get better, went over and played in Japan a little bit, I think that really helped sharpen her game to a whole new level. And yet again, I can sit here and say one of those pitchers that you can bring into games and rely on. That's a different mentality for a pitcher, right? Like in this type of league, with the experience and poise of these hitters, if you have to come in with 2 outs and run her on 2nd and 3rd in the 5th inning, she's someone you can bring in and trust. So I think she's, I mean, a heck of a compliment to someone like Lexi Kilfoyle. And the Bandits got two pretty solid pitchers right out of the gate.
Yeah, and she's just so unique because she is left-handed, because of the way that she spins the ball like crazy. And, you know, maybe a few years ago, we might have been surprised that Taylor McQuillan got drafted this high, but you said it. She has put in the work, put in the work specifically on effective velocity, which is such a big topic in our sport right now, but basically changing speeds and giving the hitters different looks to make her pitches more effective and the speed variation become that much greater. And so that's something that she's really been focusing on. And so you bring that to the left-hand side, and she complements, I mean, you could put any pitch, she complements any pitcher that is up to get drafted tonight.
Yeah, you said, Amanda, she's a huge get. Whoever gets her, meaning any team that drafts Taylor McQuillan is going to have a very big asset for their team. How are we feeling? We feel good?
Yeah, we feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go without saying, when you think of like the hardcore hitters in this league, you got some lefty power, some hardcore lefty power. So with the fact that there's only 4 left-handed pitchers in this league, you need to be able to have that lefty-lefty matchup. Any left-handed hitter will tell you they despise going against a hard lefty curveball away. So I think this was a cool pick and an opportunity for Taylor McQuillan to go pretty high up in this draft.
Yeah, as we look at the round 2 recap, ladies, surprised, not surprised, when you just look at the superstardom that's right here joining these teams?
Yeah, and 7 of the first 8 all pitchers, right? So Amanda Lorenz is the one bat that snuck in there, and I thought, you know, the hitter or two that I thought might sneak in there to the second round was also Deja Mulipola. I mean, between Amanda Lorenz and Deja Mulipola, 2 of the best hitters in the world right now, along with Bubba Nichols. So you know it's only a matter of time.
We have already made history and really the start to everything when it comes to the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. Already with the Bandits hat on, we welcome in Lexi Kilfoyle. Lexi, what a historical night, and you were the first piece to this great moment in history. How did it feel to hear your name called first?
Honestly, it felt absolutely amazing. Didn't even feel real. I'm honestly speechless, but I'm surrounded by all my teammates, my past teammates.
Oh, I love that.
So it just makes it that much better that they can be around me and support me, because I love them all to death.
Lexi, what are you most excited about, knowing that, you know, Jenny Dalton-Hill will be your GM and Stacey Newman-Denise will be your head coach? What are the thoughts behind them?
Honestly, super excited just to learn from some of the greatest in our game. So get to experience a lot of things from them and hopefully learn a bunch. And honestly, I'm excited to just see the rest of my teammates that are going to get picked tonight. So.
Lexi, you got the opportunity last year to wear the captain's hat a couple separate weekends, and now you're going back to that traditional way of softball that you remember from Oklahoma State, where you had someone like Kenny Gajewski, who was the leader of the ship. Is there any kind of different feeling going back to that, where you maybe take the pressure off of being that type of captain?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. I'm definitely more of the show, tell me when I'm thrown up and play, and so I'm excited to get back to more of a traditional format and just play with a bunch of teammates and go out and try and win a championship.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck, Lexi. Congratulations, truly a historical moment for you, for this league, and for all of your supporters in there with you. Congratulations.
Thank you, go Bandits.
She's already got it down. She's already got it down. Again, just going back, and obviously the Talons are on the clock here, but Lexi Kilfoyle kicking this league off. She's someone you two both talked about so much. You know, what are your, we can't even get to it. We can't even get to it, but my thought process is, when it comes to launching the league, you know, what gets you the most excited about Lexi?
To see how her drop ball transitions from going straight from college ball and into the pro season, and then have a little bit of this time off, and it gets me excited to see how that drop ball gets even better after a little bit of time off, when, like, there hasn't been a lot of time off for her until now.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, the first pick of round 3 is in. We're going to send it out to the Talons.
With the next pick for the Talons, we select catcher Charlize Palacios.
A catcher to go with the pitchers. Charlize Palacios, how you feeling?
No, I definitely thought that a catcher should be on the list.
Okay.
I thought Deja Mulipola for sure. That was my thought. But listen, I mean, we got a Bruin over there. And I didn't wear these blue shoes because of the Bruins, but I will say when you have that connection with a player, I mean, she got the opportunity to coach Charlize Palacios in big game situations, but what stood out to me about her career was she was one of the only catchers in the nation that called her own game for pitchers. That's unique. You do not see that piece anymore in our game. It is very much coach, data, analytics, which I can appreciate, but I also love when you can put those catchers behind the plate and there is this level of trust, pitcher-catcher. I think that that's going to be pretty important, and not to mention you have someone like Megan Fremo who is comfortable being able to throw to another Bruin.
Any thoughts on Charlize Palacios? I know we had her in the Women's College World Series, I believe.
I think that she's just had such clutch moments offensively, too. I love what she can do back behind the plate and that relationship that she'll have with Megan Fremo and Lisa Fernandez. I mean, they'll have a really good foundation and start there, which is going to be so important to get off to a fast start because there's not going to be a lot of training time. So the more that you can get to know the players that you're already going to be with is really important because it kind of is like a kickstart for the season.
Well, you talked about getting off to a fast start. The GMs and coaches are off to a fast start. They know exactly who they want.
Yes.
For round 3, pick 10, we take it to the Volts.
With the next pick, the Volts pick catcher Deja Mulipola.
Well, and I'm thinking that Kat Osterman was doing cartwheels when Lisa Fernandez just picked Charlize Palacios because I think that Deja Mulipola has been on Kat's radar since she knew that she was going to be a GM and Deja was going to be playing in this league. But what she brings with like her athleticism back behind the plate is what has stuck out since she was at Arizona to playing in this league. She hits for power. You can put her right in the middle of your lineup. I mean, she has so many amazing physical qualities, and we didn't get to see her last summer and missed seeing her, and now we get to see her again, and she was a huge get to get back into AUSL.
Well, and I think, too, you think about the adversity faced with that whole Olympic Games back in 2020 that got pushed to 2021. Rachel Garcia and Deja Mulipola both got to compete for USA, so I think that's a special tie, but more importantly, when you're looking at the future of our game, 2028 is kind of around the corner, right? So you're getting to kind of put some athletes in positions to help better their craft. And you know that these coaches are thinking USA all the way when it comes to certain things. There's multiple Olympians that are trying to get a spot here. It's not just Team USA, but you know, someone like Lisa Fernandez stands out to me that had mentioned wanting to help evolve these athletes because LA is so close. So when I see a pick like that with Rachel and Deja, that kind of stands out.
You know, Amanda, 2 words you said when it comes to Mulipola. Power galore.
I know.
Break that down.
It's when you strike the ball and you miss-hit it and it still goes out of the ballpark. I mean, that's just how strong she is. And been able to do that her whole career, just clutchness. As I feel like with the pitchers, we're seeing pitchers that can go deep into games and can go against a lineup 3 or 4 times. And with hitters, I feel like we're seeing these first hitters come off the board who have had such clutch, powerful moments in their collegiate and professional careers. They're proven.
The proven, and that's the thing. Do people go with proven? Do people go with rookies? What are these GMs deciding? And the Bandits have decided the pick is in. Let's send it out.
Bandits select in the 11th pick, infielder Skylar Wallace.
We were just talking about young versus experienced. Skylar Wallace, what is she bringing?
She's an absolute workhorse. You look at her success that she had at Florida, and she plays like she always has a chip on her shoulder. And I love that because the grind is the grind. And when I think about someone like her, she's always working. I've admired watching her off-season work with Sierra Romero and putting in that time, the weightlifting, the running, because she's showing what it takes to be a pro. And sometimes when you're not getting the opportunity to roll right from college into the pros, you're learning as you go. Okay, what do I need? I'm not getting the reps at Florida like I was with Coach Walton. So what do I personally need to do? And someone like Skylar Wallace knows what her body needs, knows the reps that she needs, and she could play a hell of a shortstop too. So I think she's a good pick.
And she instantly adds speed.
Yes.
Speed and power that she adds from the left-hand side. You're not going to see her, slap and drag like a typical lefty with speed. No, she's going to keep her feet still and swing away and drive the ball with a high slugging percentage, a lot of power. Skylar Wallace, a huge get.
You like the fit, Skylar Wallace, teammates with Lexi Kilfoyle. How do you see all of those pieces fitting in together?
Yeah, I think well, and Skylar Wallace and Lexi Kilfoyle have Alabama ties together. That's where they both started and transferred out of those programs. So a little bit of a mix when you see a couple of other teams forming that know each other really well. It's going to be interesting how all these come together.
It's all been so interesting. We have round 3, pick 12. Let's send it to the Blaze.
With our third round, our 12th pick, we are selecting second baseman Aubrey Leach.
Aubrey Leach. Danielle, nodding your head hard on Aubrey Leach.
Well, I mean, experience at its finest. Calm, cool, and collected stands out to me. Heck of a teammate, someone that has had some big moments. I mean, I love that chime, and these coaches are on it. But we have to toot the horn that needs to be tooted, and that's Aubrey Leach. And I mean, Amanda, you and I have talked since we found out we're doing this, and it really comes down to that experience piece with some of these teams, right? You want the rookies, you admire that piece, but what are the old school vets that you can bring in that are going to keep this team together, gel, chemistry, because that is an important piece to this puzzle too, right? These teams aren't changing week to week. So these players that we are adding in, you're staying together. So what type of players can we pick that are really going to help keep our team mojo up, keep the spirits high, and keep the grind alive?
Yeah, and I think that Aubrey Leach is one of the best hitters in the world right now. And I don't say that lightly. I think that that's something that she has earned by continuing to give different looks at the plate and be able to use her speed. Of course, she plays a great second base, and she's just like having another coach out on the field because she has such a high softball IQ, and she does, coach. So she's just constantly thinking the game, but you can tell she just has that old soul softball grit about her that she carries into any team that she's on. And you love to have her on the dirt because she's constantly talking to her middle infielders, her infielders overall, and her pitcher, of course, bringing people together.
And I know, Amanda, you said last summer was one of her best summers, but she's also always improving in Aubrey Leach. And as we take a look at round 3 with our recap, Charlize Palacios, Julie Pola, Wallace, Leach. This is, it's all starting to come together. We're starting to see the teams come into form as we start round 4. The pick is in. Let's send it out to the Volts.
With the next pick, the Volts pick infielder Jessie Warren.
An infielder on the board. Jessie Warren, what are they getting?
Yeah, well, they're getting an absolute highlight reel over at third base. I mean, she's the type of player, when she played at Florida State and has played as a pro, like you show up to the field and you're like, yes, Jessie Warren is playing third base. Like, I might get to see something that I've never seen before happen over at third base defensively. So we have seen her do it all, whether it's a bunt in front of her, a diving play behind her, a line drive that she robs. When I think of Jessie Warren immediately, right now, as a pro, I instantly think about her defense at third base.
Well, and she won an AU Defensive Player of the Year, and defense wins championships, so they say, but you got to take a pitch in the first round. I do believe that. But defense is key, and being able to have someone like Jessie Warren, she is an absolute gamer, and she's someone that's going to find a way to continue to adjust. I remember her coming second in 2020, and she had over a 500 batting average throughout that whole 2020 season, and it was absolutely incredible. Yes, her defense stands out to me, but I do think she's someone that swings a hot bat, and this is a good pickup.
I know, Danielle, you said you have loved following Jessie Warren's journey, and the journey continues. Round 4, pick 14 is in. Let's send it to the Bandits.
Bandits select outfielder Bubba Nichols.
I know a player that both of you were excited about was Bubba Nichols.
The way that she swings the bat, and again, I know that I've said this about a couple of players like Aubrey Leach, but she's one of the best hitters in the world right now. And you're seeing these hitters come off of the board in these early rounds because they have continued to prove themselves and their ability to hit to all fields for power, adjust, no matter what pitcher is pitching up against them. And Bubba Nichols is that hitter. From the right-hand side, we've seen a lot of the left-handed hitters come off of the board, and now a right-handed powerful hitter added to the list along with Palacios, too.
Well, and being that assistant coach at UCLA, I think is so key as well. She's getting and finding time to put in those reps. But I think for me, she's just consistent as ever. And when you think of the parity in this league, those are the types of things that stand out. You want someone that's going to be able to rely on a defense. More importantly, you can put Bubba Nichols in a lot of positions.
Yeah.
But offensively, when you have those averages year to year that tend to kind of stay the same, that's important to me if I'm picking a team, because you know, the pitching is hard in this league as well. So you want to find those hitters that can adjust pitch to pitch. And to me, she's someone that is by far could be a top 5 hitter in the world with her ability to make some big time adjustments. Maybe some people look and go, I may choose someone else over her in that type of situation. But the versatility in a league like this with the consistency that she brings, no doubt.
I know you said if she doesn't go high, people are crazy.
Yeah,
that was something that you said,
yeah.
and you just talked about sort of what she can do at the plate, but the patience at the plate, how important is that?
It's huge because I think the one thing that stood out to me that Jenny Dalton-Hill had mentioned when we talked to her was that you're starting to see a lot of these hitters play when they're getting older, which in the college game you don't get to see. You're seeing a lot of athletes graduate at 21 years old, 22 if they had the COVID year, 23. But now you're starting to see a lot of these pros blossom. Women are truly at their best in sports 26, 27, 28, maybe even into your 30s. So I think your swing matures. I think your ability to understand the game and moments, as well as the off-season work. The body's older. It's trying to figure out, hey, what do I need to be able to excel at this level? Because you'll have the young guns that come in, like a Skylar Wallace, who's a rabbit and feels so good, I can do everything. But when you're a little bit older, it's like, hey, okay, what do I need? I have to be able to have that plan of attack. And Bubba Nichols for sure stands out to me with that.
And she's a great teammate.
That is important, especially because the teams are sticking together this season. They're not swapping in and out. And here is the Blaze draft room. They are on the clock. It is almost time for them to give their pick. But before we go out, here is what they have done so far in the team that they've constructed.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that they're likely to go catcher next, potentially get somebody like a Taylor Edwards who has yet to been picked, maybe somebody like a Mia Davidson. I'm thinking they need a catcher to fill in this good start to their pitching staff that they have. You can see the trends, Drea, of the importance of up the middle of the field. Those are going to be the players that go first. Pitcher, catcher, center fielder, shortstop, second base.
We will see what they decide for round 4, pick 15. We send it to the Blaze.
We are selecting center fielder Aaliyah Andrews.
All right. There we go, up the middle of the
Up the
field,
middle,
right?
exactly
Either
what you
is going
said.
to be a catcher or potentially a catcher out in center field because she can just like catch anything that is in the air coming out her way. And I mean, we talk about Jessie Warren being a highlight reel at third base. Aaliyah Andrews is that highlight reel out in the outfield, and we've seen it year in and year out, even when she was at LSU. Just so much star power with the ground that she can cover. She will give up her body to track down balls and get outs for her pitchers. And in a league that is so built around offense, the ground that Aaliyah Andrews can cover and the hits that she can take away for her pitchers and get outs is a huge way that they're going to be able to win games.
And I can appreciate the fact that she, to me, is that triple threat type player. Like, she's just not all power, right? She is a lot of speed up the line, can drop that bunt, and can do those little things that at times maybe we're used to in the college game that coaches really drive for. But I think, to me, Aaliyah Andrews, we've seen her hit gap to gap, but can drop that bunt and utilize her speed based on where everyone's at. And I mean, Air Aaliyah all the way, right?
Yeah, Air Aaliyah, and we can't move on just yet because I have to let this phrase sit for a second. GOAT of the outfield. Still stand by that for Aaliyah Andrews.
I still stand by that, yes.
We stand by it. Well, the 16th pick is in. This is the last pick of round 4. We send it to the Talons.
The Talons select infielder Hannah Flippin.
Hannah Flippin joining the Talons. I know, Danielle, you said quiet confidence for Hannah Flippin.
And a lot of experience, and someone just gets her work done. And when we got the opportunity to talk with Coach Lisa Fernandez, this was a player that she had brought up if the opportunity was there to draft her. And I think we talked kind of that teammate piece and that quiet confidence that someone like Hannah Flip brings to the table, right? Like when I'm pitching and I'm looking back, like I want to see that just confident backbone behind me that kind of gives me that little extra competitive step in the circle. And she's just consistent. I think when I look at, gosh, last year, when she fell into the dugout with Team USA and literally sliced her whole face open, and then you saw her continue to keep playing, like she is that type of a competitor. Will run through a wall for you, literally. And you're starting to kind of see these teams come together with the types of players that they want to have and what their team chemistry, what they want it to be about.
I really think that Hannah Flippen is a stud in every version of the word. I mean, the way that she hits, quiet confidence, but you could put her anywhere in the field. Of course, you're going to want her up the middle of the field because of her range and just her consistency. But like you talked about how she got injured and still battled through that competitive stud in every version of the word. Hannah Flippen, love to watch her play.
Yeah, so excited for Hannah Flippen and all the players that have been selected so far. Again, Athletes Unlimited Softball League. We are setting the stage here. This is a round 4 recap here. Some of the positions being filled after the pitchers were filled in. We see some of the positions being filled in as well.
Yeah, players that have a really good history in AU, Hannah Flippen, Andrews, Nichols, and Warren, and trying to fill those positions up the middle of the field with the exception of Jessie Warren, who will be holding down third base.
And we talk about some positions being filled in, and we are going to bring in one of the GOATs, Amanda Lorenz. Amanda, congratulations. I'm not sure if you heard our analyst here talking about you as one of the best hitters in the world right now, joining the inaugural season of this league. How did you feel when your name got called to join the Volts?
Oh, it's an honor, and I'm just so excited to be a part of this thing.
Amanda, what are you most excited about with this new traditional format this summer?
I'm excited to get coached and excited to be with the same group of just amazing women for a long period of the time. And I just know that we're going to get better every day, and I'm really excited for that.
Amanda, I know you've played that kind of point system format and put in that time, but what kind of stands out to you the most about today is like a historic day for this sport, and this could be an opportunity for, you know, my kids to be able to aspire to be a part of a league like this. Like, talk about the history of a day like today and how important that is.
Yeah, for sure. I think back to like my 10-year-old self, like I would be in and watching on ESPN today and watching the future of our sport. So I hope that there's a bunch of young girls out there watching and know that the professional softball dream is alive and well, and we're going to keep growing this thing. So this thing is going to be so huge by the time they get there, and it gives me goosebumps to think about.
You know, Amanda, you said you're so excited to join this group of women, but also how is your mentality, or how would you describe it, for what you're bringing on the field to set the stage for this league's first season?
I bring a lot of passion and energy, and I'm a winner. I love to win. I love to compete, to be the best, and just help my team win in any way possible.
Yeah, we absolutely feel the passion from you just through this interview. We absolutely cannot wait to watch you. Congratulations again. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Good luck the rest of the night. Go Bolts.
So excited. We are through 4 rounds. Here's what the Bandits have done. They are on the clock for the next pick. But again, so great to hear from Amanda Lorenz and hear her excitement. You can feel her excitement just chatting with her then.
She's excited to be coached. I mean, that is a huge thing that I think that these players who are so competitive, who've played this sport for so long, they're just craving being able to get coached by these amazing, talented coaches.
Well, and you look at who she got the opportunity to be coached from at Florida, and Tim Walton, right? Like, he's so hands-on and one of the absolute best to do it in our game. So not to say that when you're doing that kind of point system and you're having to be a little bit more accountable for putting in that work, there's a different level of learning about yourself too when it comes to that. You learn what you like, you learn what you don't. So it's exciting that you're hearing someone saying something like that. I really am excited to be coached, because at the end of the day, we always can be better at this sport. And that can be a humbling moment, but I love to hear it from someone like her.
Well, we saw who the Bandits had selected so far, and we're going to send it out. Round 5, pick 17 is in. Let's send it to the Bandits.
In this pick, Bandits will select catcher Mia Davidson.
adding a catcher to their roster. The first catcher on the roster goes to Mia Davidson.
And I think that that's important for them to lock up here pretty quick. I'm actually so surprised Taylor Edwards is off the board just with what we've seen in Athletes Unlimited, right? Her getting drafted high, simply someone that knows how to call pitches well, but Mia Davidson and the swing that she's able to bring to the table, I think that that's a huge piece. You want that fear factor in your catcher when they step in the box, that they have the ability to change the dynamic of a game. But something that really stands out with Mia is when she joined this league, she was trying to do everything in her power to get to know these pitchers, right? Because week to week, they were constantly changing. So when you have those catchers that are really wanting to learn you, hey, what are your tendencies? How can I help you? That makes me appreciate you that much more, right? That 2-against-1 mentality, you want to feel that with your catcher. So I think that this was a solid pick for the Bandits.
Well, and a huge honor for Mia Davidson to get selected to go and play for Stacey Newman, who is one of the best catchers to ever play in our game. So if I'm Mia Davidson, I'm so excited that I'm a catcher and my coach was a catcher. I now get to learn even more from her. Going to be a player that swings the bat. And I feel like, too, Mia Davidson is a great catcher for somebody like Lexi Kilfoyle with the way that she's able to get really low. She's not a really tall catcher, more on the we'd call shorter side. And I'm a shorter player too, so I'm not hating on it, but being able to go low down for the drop ball will help Lexi Kilfoyle, their #1 overall pick.
Yeah, and also, I mean, not to bear, because great catching, but also SEC and Mississippi State home runs leader.
Yeah.
You talk about the power that she is bringing to this team and to this league with Mia Davidson. The Blaze are next. The pick is in, but let's take a look at what they've done so far in this draft. We see the positions that they've filled. Not a catcher yet. Are we thinking that this is the round of the catchers?
Yeah, I'm feeling
thinking
it.
so.
Yeah,
I'm
thinking this is it, and maybe this is going to be the time. I think I said it when the Blaze was up before that they were going to go catcher, but maybe this is when Taylor Edwards comes off the board, potentially.
It could be. Round 5, pick 18 is in. Let's take it to the Blaze.
We are selecting with our next pick, shortstop, Anissa Ortez.
All right.
We were thinking catcher. They went shortstop. They said, don't try to be a GM. Don't try to be a GM, but what are they getting here?
We're playing Moneyball over here, okay? We can't go against the data.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm obviously one of the best, smoothest hands shortstops in our game. Experience at its finest, and I think that you can never go wrong with a pick like this, right? I mean, someone that I got the opportunity to play against at that 2020 Olympic Games with Mexico, she's so good. She's another example that kind of reminds me of Hannah Flippin, right? They both played together at Utah, up the middle together. One of the most dynamic duos that you ever would see. I'm actually kind of sad that they're not going to get the chance to play together, but you can't deny how good she is. And someone, too, that I've just loved seeing put in that work, right? That off season is a key piece to continuing to get better and want to evolve, and I've seen her do that.
Well, and heavy on defense. So now you have Ortez, who's likely to play shortstop. Aubrey Leach will play second base. So your middle infielders are pretty locked in, and Aaliyah Andrews in center field. And Dana Sorensen told us just the premium put on defensive-minded players to try to keep runs off the board. She went and looked at the data, noticed that there's not a lot of swings and misses, not a lot of strikeouts, a lot of balls that are put in play, and so put in play in front of home plate. So you're locked down your middle infielders and the best center fielder in the league with Aaliyah Andrews, and you're going to be covering a lot of ground, stealing a lot of hits.
You know, this is a player that represented Team Mexico on the world stage, has had such an incredible career, now a part of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League. Congratulations. Now we're going to the Talons. They have the next pick. We see here they've got infield, catcher, pitchers, and just like that, the pick is already in. The GMs are moving so quickly. Round 5, pick 19. We send it out to the Talons.
With the next pick, the Talons select utility player Maya Brady.
Go Bruins?
Are you surprised? Or are you not surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, Maya Brady was a huge add to this AUSL draft. When you saw her name and all the articles and all the things that come with a name like that. But I think more importantly, like, you have that familiarity, and that really does go a long way, right? So from someone that got the opportunity to play with Coach Lisa Fernandez and is going to get the opportunity to compete for Howard Dobson, I I think that comfort level goes a long way, right? Like you want to know these athletes are going to be able to fit into the vibe, right? The vibe at the end of the day can make or break a team. We know that. So with someone that knows these players in and out, I think that this is a smart move because you know what you're going to get. You know how to deal with someone like Maya Brady because you have. And I mean, not only that, she's definitely one of the best to absolutely do it, but I'm not shocked that they did that.
Yeah, and added some left-handed power. You have Palacios and Flippin as the hitters so far, two right-handed hitters, and you give Maya Brady now, who can slide potentially right in the middle of your lineup with some left-handed power and kind of add some balance to their offense.
Yeah, and with that, Maya Brady being added, and we are rounding out the rosters. We're also rounding out round 5. We're moving so quickly. We're going to take a look at what the Volts have done so far. So we look at this roster, we look at the positions. Who have they decided to add to this already elite list? Round 5, pick 20 is with the Volts. Let's send it out.
With the next pick, the Volts select infielder Tiare Jennings. Proven champion, great glove. We're excited to have the rookie.
Proven champion and great glove. Great titles for Tiare Jennings.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that Tiare Jennings is the epitome of consistency with her mindset on defense, up at the plate, average, power. There is a little bit of an unknown because she didn't play in Athletes Unlimited last season, but you're going to get somebody who's just so consistent and clearly knows how to win because all she did was win 4 national championships at Oklahoma. So she has that championship mindset that will have that winning mentality right away. Yeah.
I definitely thought they were going to go pitcher there,
yeah,
with only having one on the board. I don't think that you can go wrong with a pick like that. It's kind of exciting to see. So I love getting to kind of get into the minds of the coaches and hearing where they go with stuff. Yeah.
I know you said you were interested, Danielle, in how her game would translate to the pro game. And Amanda, you also have said that you think Tiare Jennings has potential star power. Why is that?
Because she's been a star at every level that she's played at, whether it was travel ball, high school, before she got to Oklahoma, when she got to Oklahoma, being that star right away her freshman year.
Yeah.
And that consistency every single year. Tiare Jennings put up the consistent numbers. You could rely on her at second base or at shortstop. So it's just that star power that she's known about. She's had all the eyes on her, a highly touted recruit taken to Oklahoma, has the most eyeballs on them.
Yeah.
And she still was a star putting up the big numbers.
Yeah, winners win. She won 4 national championships. You can't not give a player like that an opportunity to come into this league and potentially be a star for you. And I know sometimes you're not always seeing all the Oklahoma players always go big in drafts like this or with Athletes Unlimited, right? We've seen a couple, but I like that she's getting this opportunity, right? Like someone like Tiare who knows how to win one of the fiercest swings by far in our game. The pop and the power that she brings and supplies is undeniable. So I'm excited to see someone like that get the opportunity to go play and to learn from some of the absolute best too, right? You're still going to see these athletes continue to thrive and get better by those that they're around. So this is a cool opportunity for her.
You cannot understate what it means to win and to know what it feels like to win and have success and come through in those high pressure moments. I know the pick is in. Let's take a quick look at our round 5 recap. It's all starting to come into form.
A little bit of a mix there. See Mia Davidson, Ortez, Brady, and Jennings. And I kind of felt like, Dre, when I was thinking about this, that the first rounds are going to be like you're getting those staple players, right? The ones that you're really going to build your team around. And then I feel like as we move to these kind of intermediate rounds, you're going to start picking in the pieces. Yeah. And then I think at the end, you're going to fill the holes. So that's how I kind of saw it, was staples, pieces, and then filling in the holes at the end for what exactly you're going to need to round out your team.
Well, we'll see exactly what piece is next. Round 6, pick 21 goes out to the Blaze.
With pick 21, we are selecting Olympian pitcher Kaylani Ricketts.
Olympian pitcher, very experienced Kaylani Ricketts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And another lefty that throws 70 and tends to keep the ball a little bit down in the zone. And I think that is an important piece. Listen, they may not have a catcher on the board, But when you look at the pitchers that they have and the diversity between them, someone like Carly Hoover and how she can go up and down, to being able to mix speeds with someone like Alicia Ocasio, and then you bring in the lefty that can throw 70 plus miles an hour with a ton of experience, and I like that piece. I think Kaylani can also give you that bat if need be. Not sure how much she's been swinging it in the offseason, but when she played for Oklahoma, as well as in the pro game, we've seen her be able to have her own back when she steps in the box. So this could be a potential two-way player that can do a little damage too.
Yeah, and the balance and rounding out of the pitching staff that Goler and Dana Sorensen are putting together with Carly Hoover, Alicia Ocasio, and Kaylani Ricketts. I mean, you're really starting to see this pitching staff form up to be a strong complementary pitching staff. Ricketts, of course, another lefty pitcher. There's a few things that you think of are in premium, and a left-handed pitcher, there's not very many of them, so they stole Kaylani Ricketts right there.
Yeah, I know another thing that you mentioned was potentially the calming force that Kaylani Ricketts could bring to the table.
Because of that experience and the way that she's just so confident, has been through everything. So it's like nothing phases her, and that experience brings calmness to any team. And I always like that about her. You know exactly what you're going to get.
And we'll see exactly what we get. Round 6, pick 22 goes out to the Talons.
I also think allocate too.
The Talons select utility player extraordinaire, Savannah Janquish.
Talons have made their selection. What are they getting here?
I absolutely love this pick. I really do. When you look at Savannah Janquish and you look at her numbers, you cannot deny how good she is, but more importantly, how versatile someone like this player is. You can put Savannah in the outfield, you can put her at third base, you can put her behind the dish. And listen, if there's not a comfort level as far as what a catcher's calling, you have the absolute goat of all goats in someone like Lisa Fernandez, who can help you learn that process, or they can call pitches that you could do yourself. So I don't know, I really like this pick. I know, Amanda, you and I have definitely had conversations about where someone like Savannah Janquish will go. Will she get drafted? How will she fit in? And one of the things that I did say to you was the opportunity to play with someone like Howard Dobson, right? He coached her at LSU. This is huge because it takes that piece out with the player captains. They don't have to deal with anything if there is anything, right? It comes down to these coaches and these GMs that have to deal with that stuff. So I think that this is key, especially he knows her from LSU.
Yeah, I think Savannah Janquish is one of the biggest pick steals that you can get. One of the new faces who's been missing for a few years after several top 10 finishes in AU on the leaderboard. I mean, I think this is massive, a utility player, and Hannah Flippen can play anywhere. Maya Brady can put her in the infield or outfield, and then now Janquish, you can put her anywhere. So you really see this utility mindset that the Talons are having, and being able to get really great hitters that can play a lot of different positions.
Yeah, I know both of you said that Savannah Janquish would be a huge pickup for this Athletes Unlimited softball league, talent-wise. And speaking of pickups, we have our next pick. We are going round 6, pick 23. Let's send it to the Volts.
With the next pick, the Volts pick pitcher Peyton Gottschall. A spinner and a great rookie campaign. We're excited to see how she complements Rachel Garcia.
Yeah, and sorry, what were you going to say?
I'm just not mad at the Tennessee connection here. That's all. I'm going to jump in. I'm done. That's all. That's the only analysis I have. That's it.
I noticed that was the first time you'd really gotten so excited about a pick. I see that alumni connection there. And Peyton Gottschall brings the energy in the circle. Kat talked about her spin. It's her curveball and her rise ball. And the one thing that you heard about her at Tennessee and this summer, players love to play behind her because of that energy that she brings. Such a unique look. I mean, she is spinning the ball like crazy up in the zone. Also has a backdoor curveball that she can bring into righties. Looks like it's going to hit you and then breaks back over the inside corner. So Peyton Gottschall going to complement Rachel Garcia. Both of them now more upspin pitchers. So as this progresses, going to see if Kat, who is a drop ball pitcher herself, is going to get a down ball pitcher soon.
Well, and when we got the opportunity to talk with Kat, she mentioned she had some conversations with former players. She talked with Haley McClinney about like, hey, what certain pitchers do you recall facing that you absolutely dread? and Peyton Gottschall was high on that list. So it comes down to these conversations that the GMs are having with players that have played against them, because you want to know those types of things, especially from someone like Haley McClinney. I don't know, Haley, are you watching? Do you want to come back? Like, she was that good of a player, right? So I think when you hear someone like a Haley McClinney make that type of comment, it makes you think that's someone that I want to have on my team.
I know you said that Peyton Gottschall has like a different type of confidence, like a spunkiness that you can just feel. I'm sure that the Volts are feeling that confidence as well. We're going last pick in round 6. Again, we're just flying here. It's going to go to the Bandits, pick number 24. Let's send it out.
It's easy to fly through the picks when you've got a player like this still on the board. Excited to select infielder Aaron Koffel.
Easy to select this quickly when a player like this is on the board. Why is that?
Because she's so powerful, she's young, she's only going to get better, she's so explosive, her range, I mean, you can just talk about her in a way that is just one thing after another so much. I think the word is potential. Like, you could put her at third base if you needed to. You could put her at shortstop, at second, right in the middle of your lineup with a ton of right-handed power. But she is just so dynamic, so strong. And Jenny Dalton-Hill lives in Lexington, Kentucky, which is where Aaron Koffel played at Kentucky. Very familiar, called a lot of their games. She knows Aaron Koffel well. She's excited about her.
I think coachability is huge, right? Like, she's someone that's constantly wanting to learn. I remember talking with Coach Lawson about it when she was at Kentucky. She goes, I don't even know if she's going to be able to be that high-level shortstop. And she tested her day in and day out, and Aaron Koffel continued to rise to the occasion. So that coachability piece is so key when you're in this professional league.
And I know one thing, Danielle, you said was she was put in intense situations throughout Kentucky in her career, and that you love watching her. Yeah, this is exciting. We welcome back in Kim Ng. Thank you for joining us, our fearless leader for all things Athletes Unlimited Softball League. As this has all unfolded, how have you felt watching the GMs and coaches put their teams together?
I just think they've done an amazing job. And it's been really, really fascinating for me to see how each of them thinks and what they've been able to put together. A couple things of note. Number one, I think it's a great thing for our sport that so many young players were picked early. I think that's tremendous. And then secondly, that it took so long to get that next pitcher after the second round. I was surprised by that. But really interesting that, you know, each of them has really considered defense.
What do you think their conversations are like right now? Like, if you were doing this as somebody, your head coach right next to you, like, what do you think their conversations are like? Because I haven't really had a chance to like sit back and like look at them, and I'm just kind of taking it in, and you might have been looking at them the whole time. Like, what do you think they're talking about?
Absolutely. I think they're trying to anticipate, you know, who's going to be left on the board at their turn. I think that they're, you know, really trying to obviously look at who's left and what the caliber of those players is. But again, like, really trying to anticipate what each other is doing.
If you were drafting these teams as we're getting late into the rounds, what kind of stands out to you as we get into the 7th and the 8th and the 9th, and something that you would be looking for?
I mean, I think here's the good thing. We still have a lot of good players out on the board. And I think that really speaks to the strength of the player pool. So I think that there are plenty of options for them. But, you know, they've done a tremendous job, truly.
You know, Kim, you've been so huge and instrumental in this next step for Athletes Unlimited Softball with the launch of this traditional league. But we're going to take a look at just how we got here. August 2020 was the launch of Athletes Unlimited Pro Softball. Again, that was the point system, and then it expanded in 2022, and then 2024, this league was announced, and then in June, opening day is going to happen for this league. When you look at the journey, right, it's been 5 years since Athletes Unlimited first launched. How excited are you for June 2025, and what goes into that launch day?
Well, my gosh, there's so much that goes in. I mean, in terms of determining the player pool, now the draft, and now we have to get to the operations piece of this, you know, determining all of the rules, you know, every last one of them, and there are a lot of intricacies that we really need to run through, and making sure that everything is set up for the players. We've still got the venues and the markets that we've got to finalize, and those are coming, as well as the schedule. So big pieces, they are all almost done. But really, it's about just making sure that no stone gets left unturned.
I think one of the biggest pieces is the construction of each team, because we want all of these teams to have a high degree of team chemistry and also a high degree of competitiveness as they play each other throughout this season. So again, thank you for joining us. We're going to keep picking your brain as all of this is unfolding, because the success of the league, we know you have so much to do with that. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The Talons are on the clock for our next pick. Ladies, how have we felt so far about what we have seen?
Some familiarity pieces, right? Okay. That especially with the Talons, when you think about Megan Farimo, Maya Brady, Savannah Jaquish, and Charlize Palacios, a lot of familiarity, I feel like, especially with the Talons, knowing their coaches having just played for them.
So like a Bruins 2.0 type deal. We're going to go right out for this pick. Round 7, pick 25 is with the Talons.
The Talons select 2020 Olympian Ali Aguilar, an incredible athlete, but more importantly, an amazing teammate.
And I know one thing, Danielle, you also said smooth up the middle.
She is, and can I get a little go dogs? And not to mention, you know, she's someone that got the opportunity to play with Howard Dobson. He was a part of Team USA and being heavily involved with that. So we go back to that familiarity piece, right? Like being able to get some of these athletes that you kind of know what makes them tick, I think is really important. But Ali Aguilar, definitely one of the best to do it at UW, and continuing to pour on just how competitive she is at the pro level and wearing her country across her chest. So she's calm, cool, and collected. It's funny, I found out she came into Washington as a slapper, and Coach Tar started to be like, man, you got to swing away. And then you look at the lefty pop that she has. So this is a solid pickup up the middle for them. This is huge, and someone that can kind of complement a Hannah Flippin or a Maya Brady need be. Like, there's so many different options right now when you're looking at the Talons where they could go.
Yeah, strong up the middle of the field with potential of Ali Aguilar at second base and Hannah Flippin at shortstop. A lot of Pac-12 connections as well.
We got a lot going on there on the West Coast for the Talons, and the pick is also now in round 7, pick 26. We're going to send it to the Volts.
The next pick, the Volts choose infielder Sis Bates. Who doesn't love watching Sis Bates play?
Amanda, I think it might have been you that said, it's just Sis being Sis. What does that mean?
It means a lot of different things. I mean, you can talk about her on defense, the way that she runs bases, the way that she plays the game with so much joy and passion. Just love to watch her play. Little girls strive to be just like her, robbing hit after hit. Just a great teammate. And of course, going to come from the left-hand side with a little bit of pop every now and then, but going to put the ball in play, use her speed, and bring just that overall anchor on the infield that pitchers love having Sis Bates in their back pocket, shortstop.
Well, and I think she just exudes this happiness that's contagious, right? Like, we can't take away the fact that this season is going to be a grind. You're going to be on the road. You're playing a lot of games. You definitely want those athletes that are going to be reliable, but you want those athletes that are going to lift you up. And to me, when I think of Sis Bates and you think about kind of watching her, obviously in her pro, but when you really think of some of the little kids, they started watching her at the University of Washington, right? Women's College World Series, playing in a national championship against Florida State, and they lost. But you know what I mean? So to me,
we're here for you.
I know. So she stands out just because she's always been that player that no matter what type of day, win or loss, you know what you're always going to get with someone like Sis Bates. I appreciate that piece.
Yeah, you talked about her being a top pick, not just because of the Washington connection, but quick transfer to the ball, making outstanding plays. So the Volts got a good one, and the pick is now in. Round 7, pick 27 is with the Bandits.
The Bandits will go with versatile, speed, and power outfielder Morgan Zirkle.
Yeah, and Morgan Zirkle has been a staple in this league, and I feel like she's one of the more underrated players in the league. And I think maybe is it because she played at a mid-major, maybe is it because she hasn't hit for a ton of power, maybe is it that she plays the outfield, right? But Morgan Zirkle is a staple who has been so consistent at the plate, finds ways to get on base time and time again. And she's just a tough out. I mean, a lot of different looks that she can give you. She can hit for a little bit of pop, she can slap, she can lay down a drag and completely surprise you. You can put her at the top of your lineup, you can put her down at the bottom and turn over the order. A lot that you can do with somebody like Morgan Zirkle from the left-hand side.
Well, and I mean, she's a career 345 hitter in Athletes Unlimited. That's really hard to do, and has, you know, over 220 ABs. Like, that's what it's all about. The experience piece is key. So to be able to pick up someone like her is so important because, number one, you know what you're going to get. You've seen that day in and day out in Athletes Unlimited, has good power, plays solid in the outfield. And I mean, as a head coach, like, you know when you're going to get a head coach that you have to coach, like the standard at which she wants her players to play like at Marshall, you would expect that that's the type of player that she's going to play like. So I love this pickup.
Yeah, so unique to have a head coach drafted to play for another head coach. I mean, the connection that those two are going to have for the Bandits is going to be so much fun to watch. And we move on. We continue moving. Round 7, pick 28 goes out to the Blaze.
With our next pick, we are finally selecting our utility catcher, Kayla Kowalik.
Kayla Kowalik is so dynamic, you guys, and so unique because of her speed coming from the left-hand side and the fact that she catches, okay? So the fact that she can steal bases, hit for power, and catch, and also slap and lay down a drag is what makes her just so special at the plate. You could also put her in the outfield if you needed to. So not only can she catch, you can slide her to the outfield. She gives a ton of different options, but she is just the epitome of an athlete.
Well, how many times do you have catchers that have like over 80 plus stolen bases in a year, right? Like the legs are tired, mama's tired, right? We're getting up and down, but she's someone that had a whole heck of a lot. So you can appreciate that piece because we know how hard catching is. So yeah, you want her to fill that hole, but I think really what stands out with Kayla Kowalik is she's that lefty that can supply a little bit of speed game if need be, but can hit for power. But versatile in itself. You literally can put her in a whole lot of positions. And right now, with only having a 16-player roster, I think it's so important to cover your tracks when it comes to being able to have someone, if someone goes down, hey, we know we can put Kayla Kowalik here because she's played that and she's comfortable.
Well, and I think that she's oftentimes been overlooked. Maybe you look to a bigger named catcher that hits for a little bit more power from the right-hand side, but that's how Dana Sorensen and Lisa Gohl are kind of putting this team together, a little bit more of the underdogs, chip on the shoulder, have a little bit of something to prove, overlooked for whatever reason. And so I think that Kayla Kowalik, with the culture and feel that they're building, fits right into the Blaze.
Yeah, like Moneyball, place your bet. You might think that we might, not be what you think we are, right? Like kind of place your money, place your bets, but you need to put some bets and money on this team as we take a look. Round 7, how do we feel?
I feel pretty good about it. Looking at those on the board, I mean, obviously, go Dogs. You got a little Ali Aguilar, you got a little Sis Bates in the mix, so you got to say it. But I would expect those players to be kind of where they're at,
Yep. Yeah. Well, you talked about pieces, Amanda, right? You talked about staples, and then you talked about these rounds being about getting really important pieces for the team to fit around some of those staples. And as we continue moving along, round 8. Pick 29, already in round 8, just flying right through it.
So fast.
We send it out to Kat and the Volts.
With the next pick, the Volts pick outfielder Erica Piancastelli, Athletes Unlimited home run leader. Add her to the list of those that can leave the ballpark in our offense so far.
Add her to the list of those that can lead. Why is that?
Yeah, I mean, she just has such a swaggy stick. I mean, when she steps in the box, there were times over the course of watching Athletes Unlimited and getting to call games where she would manifest things to happen, right? Like she was just that good of a player, and she's special. Got the opportunity to compete for Italy in the 2020 Olympic Games. Yeah, you can put her in the outfield, but we've seen her catch. She caught for Italy, and I think that that's also another important piece, right? Like you have a Deja Mulipola, who they selected as a catcher. Sometimes it's hard to catch every single game on the leg. So to be able to have someone like that you can bring in, that can play the outfield, has the intimidating stick, but can also put her behind home plate, I think is a good move for them.
Well, she does add to the power. I mean, this Volts team is really starting to surge with power. I mean, Amanda Lorenz, Erica Piancastelli, Tiare Jennings, Deja Mulipola, and Jessie Warren. And look, Sis Bates had a home run this past summer, too. She's got a little bit of pop, but and Rachel Garcia as well. She's listed over here under my pictures, so you can't forget about her bat. I mean, this is serious power that the Volts are putting together.
Yeah.
I know you said Erica is really fun to watch, so I'm sure she will be fun to watch as she is joining the Volts. The Bandits have the next pick. Here's what they've done so far. As you take a look at this roster, what stands out? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I love the Skylar Wallace. I love, obviously, the pitchers that they have. I can see if they're maybe going to potentially go with kind of a utility player in the mix here, someone that they could bring and play multiple positions. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it comes down to kind of those first couple picks that I absolutely love for them, and the team that they're building for sure stands out. I love it.
Now they're getting together, trying to figure this out. Maybe somebody like you were talking about that's still on the board, Danielle, is like a Bailey Klingler. They still haven't gotten a corner infielder, but Bailey Klingler has a lot of versatility. You can put her at a lot of different spots on the infield and plus her stick, too.
You know, it's interesting because now they're starting to take a little bit more time, right, to put these rosters together and choose with these players.
Yeah, the dynamic of the team comes into play, right? Like, for sure, there's certain players that they're hoping to be able to get, and then now you're starting to kind of fill in the puzzle pieces where they need to be filled in. And I know that these GMs and coaches have done their homework. I know that JDH has definitely tried to find information on a player like Bailey Klingler, whom she may not know, but it's like, hey, what's all the information I can get on these players? How coachable are they? How well liked are they? So I could see them. I agree with you. I think Bailey Klingler could be someone that they may go after.
Let's see.
We will see. Round 8, pick 30 goes out to the Bandits.
We're looking at a switchblade in this pick, one that can play lots of different positions, also swings a really good stick. We're going to go with infielder Delaney Wiz.
Switchblade, Delaney Wiz. What are they getting?
Switchblade.
Well, honestly, I thought with the way that Jenny was talking about it, I thought Danielle and I were about to predict it just right. It sounded just like Bailey Klingler. Instead, they go with Delaney Wiz, who coached with Stacey Newben over SDSU, so they're familiar with each other. And I think that Delaney Wiz is another one of those underrated hitters. I think that she doesn't get enough credit, but played for the USSSA Pride before she came to Athletes Unlimited, had some pop on her back there. Took it into AU, so I think this is a hitter that provides a lot of power. She competes in her at-bats and will be able to play that corner infield position that we were just talking about that they kind of need to start filling.
Well, and puts up great numbers. I mean, you can't deny, you look at, obviously, like, AU as a whole and AUX. I mean, 2024, she came third in that. And think about the parity in the players that you're going up against. You have to be able to be pretty consistent as a hitter. So when I think of that, that definitely stands out to me with Delaney Wiz. She's been a lot of fun to watch. I remember watching her at UCLA and just kind of the run that she was able to have. So her continuing to evolve, I think it's unique when you have these coaches that are able to come in and get drafted, right? This is a cool opportunity for her at Nevada to name the assistant coach. So I'm going to kind of see her in the mix and trying to juggle all of that stuff. I think that's what makes this so unique and so fun.
You also said that Delaney has a great personality and can be a baller. How would you describe that?
Yeah, I mean, she seems bubbly and fun to be around, right? And at the end of the day, that's kind of how you want to play. When you're grinding and you're going through the trenches, win or lose, consistency is what you're looking for. And I think when you think of position-wise, where she's been able to kind of staple herself at third base, that's key. But a lot of times you'll kind of put those players and think like the offensive piece stands out to me. Like if I'm going late rounds and there's someone that has a little bit of a fear factor when they step in the box, that's going to stand out to me. So Delaney Wiz, definitely that. And she's got that taste of what it's like to be close to winning. She was a medalist at the 2024 AUX, right? So those are good things that go in the memory bank of what that felt like. So those are things that, you know, coaches take into consideration.
We'll see what the Blaze are taking into consideration as we look at their roster, what the Blaze have put together. Their pick is in. And as you look at this, anything stand out? Again, first pick was Carly Hoover. That's who they're building around here.
Yeah, I just see a really good mix of balance and speed and power and just really starting to fill in some holes here. But like what Dana Sorensen and Lisa Gohl are putting together here, especially again, talked about their pitching staff being balanced with Hoover, Ocasio, and Ricketts. It's rounding out.
And we'll send it right back out to them. Round 8, pick 31 goes to the Blaze.
With our next pick, representing the old Pac-12, we are selecting Bailey Klingler. Utility Bailey Klingler.
The player that you all just talked about going at around this time in the draft, Bailey Klingler.
Yeah, I can play so many different positions, right? Like we've seen her play shortstop, played that a little bit at UW and made her way to third base. I mean, was a top 3 finalist for National Player of the Year. Her numbers were gaudy. So I think that really does stand out to me. You can also throw her in the outfield if need be. So those are like the little things to be able to take into consideration when it comes to someone like that. Fun. I mean, to me, she has like such a fun, quirky personality. I mean, you can just kind of follow her on social media and see the little things and see her grinding, no doubt, but she has this uniqueness about her that you want to know more, right? Like I want to know more what makes Bailey Klingler tick. So I like this opportunity. You know, another one when you think about who's unique, it's someone like Carly Hoover. Like you're getting that kind of, I'm not going to say chip on your shoulder type players, even though Dana Sorensen had made the comment about, hey, like we may have some players that feel that way, but I just kind of like the trend that you're getting with some of these teams and the stories that, you know, they're going to be able to tell about this team dynamic.
All right, you both said that Bailey Klingler was a player that could change the game with just one swing. So we know that her team is definitely hoping that that will happen. And as we round out round 8, pick 32 goes to the Talons.
With our next pick, the Talons select Tori Vidalis, 2020 Olympian from Team Mexico.
And
Yeah, and Tori Vidalis, I'm surprised actually she went this late. And thinking about it, with the way that she swings the bat, she is truly the definition of a professional hitter. And she's kind of like an Amanda Lorenz in the sense that since she set foot just as a softball player, she has clutch in her DNA and her genes at the plate. She wants to be up in the big moments, has provided so much power and average against all the pitchers. She can make adjustment pitch to pitch, and I mean, she truly, you guys, I can't think of anybody better. Like, she is a professional hitter with the way that she approaches her ABs and the power that goes behind it. So likely see her over at first base, but the way that she swings the bat is going to provide a lot of pop to this lineup.
Is there any Texas A&M bias or
yeah,
no?
maybe just a little bit.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you want to keep going about the Aggies?
You had talked way too much about the Huskies. Got to get my Aggies in there a little bit.
You know, something that I've loved year to year that I've been around the Athletes Unlimited, when her dad comes into town, they hit. And I love that, right? Like that fun foundational piece. And last summer, like when she struggled a little bit and her dad came in and she'd be like it just completely changed like my swing. It just gives you that level of confidence. It reminds you why you grind the way you do. It brings you back to kind of, this is why I love this game. And sometimes when it seems wicked competitive and you're a pro and it's day in and day out grind, you lose that sense of why you started to play the game, right? So when you have that fun piece that like you can sit here and talk about, like her folks are awesome. They're always in the stands and so excited and so happy. And remember, you know, them cheering hard for obviously Mexico at the Olympic Games, but how proud they were for Canada when we medaled. Like, they're amazing people. So I think that really stands out to me with Tori Vidalis and that foundation piece of what makes her her, because she exudes that on the field. Dude, she's so fun. When we do the mic'd up with Athletes Unlimited and she's talking at first base, like doing her dancing and all, like she's super fun, and she's someone that I wish I would have got the opportunity to wear a uniform with.
Yeah, and that's what you need in this league when you're competing against some of the same teams, someone that keeps things fun, keeps things light, but who also is extremely talented. So Tori, congratulations. As we take a look at round 8 and everything starting again to come into form, congratulations to all of the women so far that have been selected.
Some pop with some right-handed bats in this round 8, huh? With Bianca Stelli and Wiz and Klingler and Vidalis. And it's, you guys, I just, like, this is what it's all about. It's so fun to see these teams come together and see these teams form defensively, kind of start to take a look at what their offensive lineup is going to look like. A lot of righties, though, in this round 8.
And now we are going to bring in one of the many talented women selected so far in this draft, Maya Brady. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations. And Maya, I know Lisa Fernandez has probably called your name on multiple occasions, but what did it feel like for her to call your name as the GM of the Talons and for you to join this team?
Honestly, it was surreal. I mean, I feel like since I was literally 8 years old, I've been obsessed with UCLA. And when they offered me to go play, the 5 years that I was there was a dream. And so to start off my professional career with Coach Lisa kind of at the helm and these amazing teammates, I'm just so excited.
And Maya, how do you feel about playing with Megan Faremo, with Charlize Palacios, and yourself rounding out some Bruins on this Talons team?
No, seriously. I mean, it's no secret that the Bruins love each other. And whenever we get the opportunity to come together, it's where some Bruin magic happens. So hopefully we can bring that to the AUSL.
Maya, you were keeping us on the edge of your seat. If you were going to be playing with AUSL, you were that late ad, and I absolutely love it. But this is your first opportunity to get the chance to play pro. Talk about what that means to you.
Yeah, it's just such an amazing opportunity, and to have Kim and just all these amazing women kind of leading the charge. I think it's, as we've kind of said a couple times, and you guys have kind of said it, like, it's historical. So, I mean, for me, I think it's going to be a great experience, not only to kind of play professionally and extend my career, but to just learn from the amazing players around me.
Yeah, and you're also going to get to learn more, Maya, from Lisa Fernandez, and you already know so much about her. For those that don't know, how would you describe Lisa Fernandez?
I mean, I think the most obvious term would be GOAT, but she's just such a selfless, hardworking. She is the coach that's going to be in it with the players. She cares just as much as we do. And just someone that's going to bring consistent energy, positive energy, and somebody that, you can kind of lean on and a shoulder to cry on when you need it. And she's just an amazing woman.
Well, we know she is so excited to have you on her team. We're so excited to have you as a part of this league. Congratulations again. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
A late ad, but a very big one for this league. The Bandits are on the clock. We are entering round 9, but here's what the Bandits have put together so far.
Yeah, and I feel like, Danielle, we're seeing a lot of power hitters step up. Not a ton of speed that we've talked about up to this point, but a lot of explosive power hitters, both coming from as a left-handed hitter and right-handed.
Well, and I mean, it does stand out to me in the conversation we had with Jenny Dalton-Hill and how the game has changed. Like, you're seeing a lot of these hitters play later than they normally have in the past. So you're seeing this strength in numbers. You're seeing them find ways in the offseason to continue to get better. The difference in the attention to detail on learning your body and how it can tick and make adjustments. Like, the long ball, that fear factor is a real thing here. I think more than ever. So yeah, you love the speed. I think at times I despised pitching against those slappers and the ones that just are just pests at the plate. But you can't take away that power because you can change the game in a swing. And when you have that ability as a GM and a coach to say, like, man, I can bring someone like a Mia Davidson or a Bubba Nichols in to be able to do that, it's a no doubt about it.
And we'll see who else they choose to bring in. The Bandits pick is in round 9, pick 33. Let's send it out to Jenny Dalton-Hill.
Looking to add some more versatility and some speed from the left side of the plate, we're going to go with infielder Sid McKinney.
You all were just talking about speed. They get that here with McKinney.
Yeah, she's been so consistent, and her ability to hit for average, too. I mean, she just kind of flies under the radar, but you could put her as a leadoff hitter. You could put her in the 2-hole. You could also put her in the 9-hole. I mean, she reminds me a lot of Morgan Zirkle. They coached together at Marshall, and Just with her consistency defensively, you could put her in a lot of different places. And Bandits have some options defensively on the infield with Delaney Wiz, Skylar Wallace, Aaron Koffel, and now you add Sydney McKinney to the mix. I mean, a lot of options on the dirt for what the Bandits are putting together.
Well, and you remember the run that she was having at Wichita State. Like, she was that standout player. I mean, she played every single career game over, you know, over 240 games she played, that career 451 hitter. Like, I want that. That's really hard to do in the college game. So I think when you have someone that has that good pop, that consistency, that speed piece, and that you can put her anywhere kind of in the infield and has that confidence to be able to play that position, throw her in the outfield, like, yet again, check off another player that can play multiple positions and help your team out wherever need be. And that's where you start to see, as the rounds go later and later, that's a big piece, that selflessness piece. Where do you want me? How can I help this team get where it needs to be? That is potentially something that these coaches are going to look at when they're making these, you know, these picks.
Yeah, 5-year letter winner at Wichita State, started all 244 games as far as her college career goes. And Danielle, you said fast as lightning. And I know, Amanda, you talked about a couple of places you could have her in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just putting it together, too. It's just going so quickly. Morgan Zirkle and Sydney McKinney going to be on the same team. Could potentially hit 1 and 2 in the lineup. And then you have Skylar Wallace, Bubba Nichols, Aaron Koffel, Mia Davidson, Delaney Wiz going to hit them in. So they're going to be, obviously, the table setters for the Bandits and let the power hitters drive them in. But those are two good ones who get on base a lot.
And they coach together. And I think that chemistry gels really well together, too. So being able to have those two together, I think, was cool for them to bring them in.
Familiarity, chemistry, all the things starting to come to play as we're splitting hairs sometimes between these players. The Blaze pick is in. We're going to take a look at their draft board and just see what they've put together so far. You got pitchers, infielders, outfielders. Now you're starting to round out the roster. Again, only 4 picks left to round out this team. It is absolutely incredible how it's starting to come together. Round 9, pick 34 is with the Blaze.
Yes. Ricketts? Oh. With our next pick, I couldn't be happier to select pitcher Elena Vaughter from Stanford University.
Danielle, Dana Sorensen told us they were going to go heavy on the drop ball, and that's exactly what they're doing with their pitching staff. Hoover can go down, Ocasio can go down, Ricketts lives down, and Elena Vaughter, who we have not gotten a chance to see in AU. She'll be a new face, a fresh face, throws hard and down in the zone. I mean, clearly she's putting this pitching staff together with a mission to live on that drop ball.
Well, and I think that that is such an important piece. When you have such a right-handed pitching up in the zone, you have to find a way to be able to change planes and to be able to bring someone in. And also, like, ignorance is bliss at this point. She has not been seen, right? So I think that adds a lot of stock value. I want someone that you can bring in that has confidence to be able to go in on the hands of a left-handed hitter with that filthy drop ball down and in. Like, and she's thrown some big innings. Started at Stanford, had a hell of a career, finished her last year at South Carolina. And I remember calling that Clemson-South Carolina game, and she went like well into like the 13th inning and just battled pitch after pitch after pitch. So I love that piece. I think that that is so fun to watch. I love that connection. I love the money ball. I love just how the Blaze have that kind of mentality with stuff. I think this is a great pick.
Also a bit of a spunky personality as well that you mentioned for Vaughter. So kind of bringing that into this team. I'm feeling a little spunkiness from their draft room, the Blaze's draft room as well. When we go to them, they're like laughing. It's like they've got a trick up their sleeve every time. Every time we go to their draft room, we are going to take a look now at what the Talons have put together, because they have the next pick, rounding out their roster. Started everything off with Megan Paramo in the circle. You see who they've added. Their pick is in round 9, pick 35. We send it right out to the Talons.
With the Talons' next pick, roll Talons. We pick pitcher Montana Fout.
Everyone at home knew exactly what she meant, but it is now. Roll Talons. They're getting Alabama great Montana Fouts.
Yeah, you are. You know, there's At times, question mark when you think of Montana Fouts a little bit, right? Like she's played the one season with AU. We haven't seen her play a whole lot of pro ball. Did well in Athletes Unlimited, was liked by her teammates. I love all of those things. To me, it's about the work. What has the work been in the off season, right? We know she hurt her knee in Alabama, has not gotten that fixed, fine. But I know the draw that a player like that brings. I'm just curious to see how she will perform, right? When it comes down to it, bullpens at times are different. When you play games, that adrenaline and that pitching at that type of a pace can be different than when you're just throwing a little bit. So I love this pick for the player that Montana is, but I'm excited to see how she rises to the occasion.
Yeah, and I'd be excited too. And I know Howard Dobson, the head coach, Lisa Fernandez, the GM, but Lisa Fernandez has this mind that I'm sure she's going to be rubbing off on these pitchers, on this pitching staff. And Montana Fouts just craves to get better. And right now we know her as a pitcher that's more up in the zone, has continued to try to develop that changeup, more down in the zone, that off-speed pitch. And Lisa Fernandez is going to see that weakness and want to try to help Montana Fouts really develop that, not just for the Talons, but you think of the potential of Montana Fouts to potentially be going for Team USA in 2028 and get to potentially work with Lisa Fernandez. I mean, we're thinking a little bit long-term now, not just for what's going to happen this summer, but potential long-term opportunities.
Yeah, the growth of Montana Fouts as a player and also the ability of Montana Fouts and how many eyes are on her, how many young girls love her to grow the game. Great pick here for the Talons. The Volts are on the clock and their pick is already in, but we are going to take a look at what they've done so far, the team that they've put together. Started off with Rachel Garcia, 4 picks left. Amanda Lorenz, someone you all talked about as a superstar, so much talent on this team. I know Sis Bates was a favorite of both of you, and we will send it out to the Volts. Round 9, pick 36.
The next pick, the Volts select infielder, Kelsey Stewart. The mom who is showing us you can still do it all after 2 kids, and really a utility in the infield.
A mom that can do it all. Danielle, I know that has to be something that hits home with you.
Yeah, 2 babies, and I mean, after she had her second, she went back pretty quick, and I remember just admiring that piece because you know the grind that it takes to have a baby. So I absolutely love this. And I think she continues to get better because of that piece. At times it gives you maybe a different purpose, right? Like I can at least sit here and say when I went back to play, the game meant a lot, but it's not life or death at times how it feels when you're playing at the professional level. So I know the history that Kat has with Kelsey Stewart. They had that good run together in 2020. She would draft her at times to play on her team. So I can totally see a pick like this for the Volts and the importance of how a player like this can come in and mesh well with the GM and the head coach.
Yeah, and a lot of youth that is on the Volts with 1, 2, 3 years of professional experience. And you have Erica Piancastelli, who is a true veteran, and then also Kelsey Stewart-Hunter, who is also a true veteran, to be able to give this team some leadership, some experience. And, you know, there was that hole at first base, and that's where Kelsey Stewart-Hunter has been playing a lot, can pick the ball well over at first, but brings a left-handed bat and kind of starts to round out this infield that the Volts have going on.
Yeah, I think it's important because a lot of young players could feel some pressure, right? With the start of their professional career, also the start of this league in general, there's a lot of pressure to want to do well, to kick things off for the very first season here. And so Kelsey can sort of bring in that calming presence and that perspective. I think that's great.
And being able to kind of smooth it over too, right? Like when you have those players that have that experience, I think that really kind of helps some of those young bucks that may feel any type of pressure, right? Like, yeah, Tiare Jennings, winners win, and we know that she's that type of player, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to hit your speed bumps a little bit when you play pro. So to be able to have those players that have gone through the ups and downs, I think really kind of help a team hit its stride when they need to, because experience is a key piece.
And Kelsey Stewart-Hunter rounded out round 9 for us. The Blaze on the clock to start off round 10. And we've already talked about this Blaze draft room, and I see them over our corner. They're still looks like they're debating a little bit on where they're going to go next.
Yeah, it's hard when you're looking right now. They don't have a ton of outfielders. Right now they have Aaliyah Andrews, who you know is going to be plugged into center field, and looks like 2 potentially needing a corner infielder with some room, and 4 pitchers right now. So good time to talk about. There's going to be 5 pitchers on every team. So they're about to max out on their pitchers. Are they going to go all 5 with this allocation draft, or are they going to potentially save a pitcher for the college draft that will happen later on? So a lot of different things that they're looking at, and different angles for knowing that that college draft is going to be well on the horizon.
And I'm a little shocked, like someone like Sid Romero hasn't gone off the board yet,
true.
right? Like with just the experience, I know we use that word a lot, but someone that has played and had success at Oklahoma, but has played in AU, reliable, makes adjustments well, coachable. Haven't seen her go yet. Could see her going here pretty quick.
Yeah, we'll see if Sid Romero gets chosen or who the Blaze have chosen. Round 10, pick 37 is in. Let's send it out.
You got it. We're coming in blazing hot with our outfield pick, Sierra Briggs.
Blazing hot with the outfield pick. Nodding in approval. Why is that?
I enjoy watching Sierra Briggs play softball. I loved watching them compete at that Stanford Super Regional against Nyjah Kennedy. Like, she's just, over the course of her career at LSU, has been a lot of fun to watch. Plays the outfield well. You know she can utilize that speed piece. I love that, but I think outies and speed is something that helps you, right? Like, infield hurts you, outfield kills you. You want to be able to make sure you cover your tracks in the outfield when it comes to being able to have those clutch defenders. So I think this is a great pick.
And their outfielders are going to fly. Aaliyah Andrews and Sierra Briggs both came from LSU. Sierra Briggs played center field after Aaliyah Andrews left. The ground that they can cover, I mean, you have two of the best outfielders right here with the ground that they can cover. Like, I'm so excited for that. And you can tell with the Blaze, the priority that they were putting on defense. Dana Sorensen said it. Now they're doing it, and they're walking the talk, just like she talked about.
As a pitcher, that's so comforting to have behind you, those players that can fly around. So you're starting to see some of these teams form identities, which is probably the best part, because this is the first identity we'll ever see for these 4 teams, and everything will get shaped from here. I love the excitement that was coming from that. Was it like just from a pitcher? You're like, oh my gosh, there's so much speed in the outfield.
So much.
It's incredible. Round 10, pick 38 is already in. We send it to the Talons.
For our next pick, the Talons pick strong-armed outfielder who can play right, center, and left, Carolyn Jacobson.
Playing multiple positions, strong-armed. I mean, Lisa Fernandez said a couple of things, but what else is there?
I mean, that strong arm definitely plays a factor. I know the athletes that I have talked to over the course of the AU love playing with her, right? And I think being able to kind of give them those opportunities, a pop hitter from the right side is key. You know, it's a lefty pop hard league when it comes to that stuff. So I can appreciate a solid righty stick that can go in and can be pretty consistent and make those adjustments. And when I think of someone like Caroline Jacobson, I think that this is a good addition. She had a pretty good 2023 champ season. I mean, 19th out of over 60 plus players, was doing everything that she could to continue to be successful and get picked on these teams. And she was playing day to day, and that shows something about those rookies when they're getting those opportunities.
I also think someone that was so instrumental in building a Duke softball program, right? When you think about building a new softball league and being a part of the groundwork and the foundation, Caroline Jacobson is someone that can speak to understanding that. Teams starting to come into form, choosing their team, choosing their players. Round 10, pick 39 is in, and with the Volts.
The next pick, the Volts pick pitcher, Mariah Mazon, veteran who's proven that she can hold her own.
She has proven that. And I think that Mariah Mazon has had ups and downs, but her ups are really high. Like, go 6 innings, maybe even throw a complete game and be able to get hitters out 3-4 different times in a game. So she has a really good mix that she's worked hard on. She can throw 3 different speeds. And I think in the later rounds, this could be a really good pick for the Volts to give them another pitcher. Usually you think about those like first pitchers that you're gonna get that can go deeper into the games, but I think Mariah Mazon is a steal in these later rounds.
And someone that you saw throw some really big innings. Like when I think of like Georgina Korik, and I made the comment, like she was put out there in some situations and threw big games. So was Masson in certain situations, right? So those are things that coaches and GMs can recall. And it's like, hey, like this is going to be a tough heck of a season where we're going to need pitchers to be able to step up. And in the midst of a season when it's hot and we're tired, like who are those types of players? And when I think of just the career that Mariah Maison had at Oregon State and finally made it to Oklahoma City her senior year, it was special to kind of watch that run. So she's been a player that, you know, has carved her name in Pac-12 with that Oregon State. I mean, Pac-12 RIP. But, you know, I'm with you. I think that this is a great addition. And she mixes well, right? Like you think of the pitchers they have in Rachel Garcia and Peyton Gottschall, like they all can do a variety of things differently. And when I think of Masson, she can go down a little bit more in the zone. And I think that adds some value to the pitchers that they have.
Opportunity to learn from Kat Osterman as well. Really exciting for Maison. We are rounding out round 10. Pick 40 goes out to the Bandits.
I think the world was introduced to this player at the Women's College World Series and that play at the plate. We're excited to add this amazing pitcher, Odyssey Alexander.
It's funny that she mentioned the Women's College World Series because you called her the Women's College World Series darling.
She was. I mean, that run, I wasn't actually at that World Series, so I got to be a spectator because we were doing that Olympic stuff. And I remember watching and being like, wow, like I fell in love with Odyssey Alexander and just the confidence. I mean, they beat Oklahoma and the run that she was able to have, obviously Oklahoma won the whole thing, but she's special, right? And she's someone that has won Athletes Unlimited, put in that time. And when she is at her best, she takes that pressure piece off. And when she did win Athletes Unlimited, that's something that she really talked about. Like, hey, I put all this pressure. I had to take that off. I had to go back to the roots of softball and kind of what makes me tick. So when you're in this type of a format, I think you have to have that same mentality, right? Like, I'm getting the opportunity to be on a team with some studs in Lexi Kilfoyle and Taylor McQuillan. Like, how can my puzzle piece fit in to just make this team that much better? And she is that selfless type player.
Well, and I think this is exactly what I was going to say. You led me right to it. She's a perfect puzzle piece to complement Lexi Kilfoyle and Taylor McQuillan. I mean, these are three very different pitchers, with Kilfoyle being more down with their drop, McQuillan lefty and spinny, and then Odyssey being able to go hard up and in. And I think that the thing about these teams and playing together, they're really going to start to own their roles. You're not mixing up different teams every single summer like we were doing, but they're going to be able to own these different roles and complement each other for multiple games. And I think that starts to make you feel more comfortable as a pitcher too, to know exactly what you need to do, not have to maybe mix as much, but go to your strengths, know what they are, and complement each other the whole way.
Yeah, the players that complement each other, the pitchers that complement each other. I know one thing with Odyssey, also so competitive, but also a calm personality and a chill personality. So it's been exciting to see how these teams decide who they're going to have as a part of their roster. And one player that was selected in earlier rounds, Kaylani Ricketts. Kaylani, congratulations. I know the analysts here have talked so much about what you bring to this league. How excited are you to be a part of the inaugural season for Athletes Unlimited Softball League?
Yeah, I mean, it's such an honor to be a part of this league in the inaugural season. For me, this is going to be my 12th season playing professional softball, and you know, I think just being a part of the professional softball world, it's had ups and downs, and I've been part of, you know, playing international, I've been a part of the NPF, I've been a part of independent teams. So I got a taste of Athletes Unlimited last year playing in the AUX season. And, you know, I think that Athletes Unlimited, they have what it takes to be able to take professional softball to the next level. And you're seeing it with the faces of softball throughout the years. You have Lisa Fernandez, Kat Osterman, Kelly Kretschmann, just so many faces that have built our sport and helped grow our sport at the professional level. And to see so many greats a part of the inaugural season, I think it shows how special it is and how much people are just bought into what is going on here.
Kaylani, going into your 12th year as a pro, like what kind of lesson stands out over the course of that time? Like that's a long time being a pro and a lot of life lessons, a baby in the mix, right? Like there's a lot you can learn, but is there anything in particular you think over the course of the 12 years, like something that stands out?
Oh, absolutely. I just think that, you know, from graduating, I got drafted by the USSSA Pride, and after having 2-time National Player of the Year and National Championship at OU, and it felt like the biggest stage at the time, and just having to understand like professional softball, it is a place where it's like we are trying to grow it. We are trying to get it at that big stage that college softball is at. And so being able to take it year by year that way it's great, and it helps me grow as a person and a player. And I know I'm not the same player I was either 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, right after college. And so I think that's so helpful to be able to continue to grow. And I love being able to be challenged by the growth that the new college players are bringing to pro softball. You're not seeing the same hitters that you were seeing back when I was playing in 2013 on the USSSA Pride, which, there's great hitters in the MPF, but it's just a different type of hitters that you're facing nowadays, it's exciting to face as a pitcher.
Well, and Kaylani, you were talking about growth, and you're going to the Blaze with Dana Sorensen as the GM, and she loves the data and diving into those numbers. How have you, up to this point, used data in your game, and how are you looking forward to it moving forward?
Yeah, I think that's one thing for me. I'm a little bit of old school, where we didn't have the synergy at OU back in 2012, but as a college coach now, I'm starting to get into it a little bit more. But we watch film and all of that, so it'll be great to be able to learn from Dana and from Goaler, being able to see what they have to bring to pro softball and bring to our team in this league this year.
Well, Kaylani, it's so fun to hear the excitement and passion from you on a new beginning after already having such an incredible professional career. So congratulations on being a part of this league. We truly look forward to watching you compete.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Round 11. 8 picks remaining. Kaylani Ricketts, we've gotten to talk to Amanda Lorenz, we've gotten to talk to some of these players, Maya Brady, and they're so excited to be a part of this. For these last 8, as excited as they are, there's also going to be players left off of the list that don't get chosen in this draft for the inaugural season. How are you processing all of that?
It's a lot to take in.
It is,
yeah.
Because none of these athletes have been picked last in PE.
Yeah.
They're always the first pick, right? Like JDH is the one that made that comment. So you're having all of these athletes that have been the best at what they do, and that is a tough pill to swallow if maybe you aren't picked. And it's sad, but it doesn't discredit how amazing these athletes are or how hard they've worked to get to this point. But it's the big leagues, right? Like, this is where we're at, and this is where our sport is at, and that's why we have these coaches and these GMs, and they have to make sometimes those hard decisions and figure out who it is they want and who can add that piece to the puzzle. I know we keep referencing that, but they're building that puzzle, right? So who's going to fit? And not all the pieces fit the puzzle.
Well, and we knew this going in, that there were over 80 players that were going to be in this player pool, and only 48 were going to get selected tonight. So we knew some people were going to get left out, but I feel like that's what makes this league feel so big and so exclusive. And I think that not only this year, but in years to come, people are going to be knocking down the door wanting to play in this league because the level of talent is so high, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah, I know one thing that Lisa Fernandez talked to us about just a couple of days ago was, at this point, you're splitting hairs between greatness.
Yes.
Because all of these players are so great, and that is exactly who has our next pick. Round 11, pick 41 is with the Talons.
Yes, with our pick, we are looking forward to having Sydney Romero join us, an Olympian representing Mexico in 2020.
And someone that both of you talked about, Sydney Romero, not being chosen yet, and here she is chosen by Lisa Fernandez.
Yeah, I love Sid the Kid. I really do. Like, I have just appreciated watching her game as a collegiate athlete, and then getting to see her as a pro and constantly putting in that work day in and day out. I mean, she's an assistant coach at University of Oregon, right? Like, that piece is so fun to see in the mix for these coaches, because you start to learn that maybe my game needs to evolve a little bit too, right? Like, I got to try to figure it out. Like, these athletes that are coming in are a little bit different. So it's fun when you can bring in the type of experience of a player like Sid Romero. Versatile, can play a lot of positions as well, right?
Yes, you can put her anywhere. And I mean, when you start to look at their infield, start to look at the dirt, you could have 4 at some point played shortstop, infielders. Tori Vidalis, that's where she played before going to Texas A&M. Ali Aguilar played short. Hannah Flippen played short. Sid Romero can play short. So you have really good athletes and a lot of versatility on the infield where if somebody gets hurt, it's just plug and play. It's just moving some people around, and you really don't skip a beat because they're all so talented and can help each other out, manipulate not only the offensive lineup, but the defensive lineup too.
You know, I think it's really interesting is if you were keeping an eye on some of these draft rooms, and you two are so locked into your notes, but I do want to get a reaction from the Bandits after Sydney Romero was picked. So let's just take a look. Take a look at these two. Not happy at all. All business coming back though, but it shows that the type of player that Sydney Romero is, with people being frustrated that maybe she was taken off of the board, and more players still to be taken. 7 picks left. We send this out round 11, pick 42 with the Bolts.
The next pick, the Volts take outfielder Mackenzie Clark. Her speed is unmatched. She's underrated offensively. We're excited for her to patrol center field.
And that fills in the hole in center field. That when I was looking down and I looked to see who was left, I feel like Mackenzie Clark in these later rounds is a big get. She is so dynamic and can cover a ton of ground in the outfield, make highlight reel type plays. She brings this energy too with the way that she runs bases, takes extra bases, steals hits, has a great arm, can hit the ball out of the ballpark, lay down a bunt, and just find a way to get on base. This is both Sydney and Mackenzie are huge pickups in these late rounds.
Well, and someone that I don't think has even come close to hitting her stride yet in the pro game. Like, I really do believe that, like, getting those reps and the attention to detail of being a part of this team, winning for the team, it's going to help elevate the way that she plays, right? The point system is unique. I've loved that part of Athletes Unlimited, but I do think sometimes it's hard for certain players to be able to be individually successful, right? You can go 5 for 5 with 5 singles, but it's hard for you to win if you're not winning. Now you get to be a part of a team and the chemistry and all the things that make it seem right and big. So I like this pickup for them. She has so much speed. She was a lot of fun to watch at Clemson. Really enjoyed her career there. So I don't think she's even come close to hitting her stride yet.
Well, you mentioned that team chemistry. You also said Mackenzie Clark is a player that's well-liked by the players that she plays with. Not just because of her skill, obviously, and her speed, but why else is she a player that's well-liked?
I think she carries this, like, swagger about herself, right? Like, I can't say that I know her on a personal level, but when I've seen her in the hotel, I'm like, I kind of wish that I knew her. Like, we walk by, like she's just that type of player. She carries herself in a good way where I can appreciate that swagger, right? Like, that to me is what makes sports so fun. That alter ego can come to play on the field, and you carry yourself with that same type of thing off the field. So I've respected her game. I love that she played for Clemson. Watching Clemson have the run they did, obviously it was a first-time program with Coach Rittman. So she's someone that I followed throughout her career.
All-time stolen base leader also at Clemson. She just got that, in 2024. So a ton of speed, a ton of swagger. As we are seeing these teams round out, that is a great piece to have.
Yeah, it is, and adds speed to this powerful lineup that we talked about with the Volts, like a lot of power in their offense. And Mackenzie Clark has that power too, and that's what makes her so dynamic is that she can hit the ball literally 300 feet, and she's like not even that big of a player, lay down a bunt 10 feet in front of home plate. So she's just so dynamic and adds that speed piece to an offense that has a ton of pop.
And we'll see how the Bandits are rounding out there. Now, remember, this was the pair that was a little frustrated about the Sydney Romero pick, but with round 11, pick 43, let's send it out to the Bandits.
Well, the hard part is, at this part of the draft, you've got so many big names still left, but we want to make sure that we come in and diversify our pitching staff, give ourselves a different look in the circle. We're going to go with pitcher Sarah Willis.
Ooh, I like this.
Diversifying their pitching. How are they doing that here with Willis?
I mean, her changeup is one of the best that I have seen, right? Like, I can chalk Georgina Korick as having one of a pro change as well, but for Sarah Willis, like, I can make the same example. I'm not sure that I've seen her hit her stride yet. Hasn't got a ton of experience, right? But you're only going to get experience the more opportunities you get. So I like that she's getting this type of an opportunity, right? Like you think about the skill set she can learn from in JDH and someone like, you know, Stacey Newman-Denise behind the plate. Catchers help pitchers, and that's going to be, you know, Coach Newman-Denise's job. She's going to be able to help someone like Sarah Willis. I do think she needs to be able to attack early and focus more on not throwing a whole ton of pitches, right? Like we know her bread and butter is her changeup. You can throw 70 plus, you have a Bugs Bunny changeup, that's your game plan. And I think for her, it's gonna be cool to see if she can really find ways to attack that strike zone early. And even when she throws her best pitch and they know it's coming, there's a lot of the time that they still can't hit it. So we'll see.
You know it's coming, but you still can't hit it. The confidence in that, though, to keep throwing something that you know your opponent at the plate is expecting, and you still have the confidence to throw it. That says a lot.
Yeah, and she's going to be able to do that more, again, with being able just to own your role on these pitching staffs that will stick together. She can just focus on that changeup, add a couple of pieces, too, that she'll mix in with it, but she can go in knowing, okay, this is my job. People will know this pitch is coming, but I'm still going to throw it, and I'm still going to get you. It's that good.
I aspire to have that level of confidence,
right?
Because that is next level. I'm sure the Blaze have confidence in their next pick as we round out round 11. Pick 44 goes to the Blaze.
There you go. In round 11, an absolute steal. Shout out for all of our pitchers. We are selecting catcher Taylor Edwards.
Another one of those big names that we've talked about. We were talking about her in early innings, or excuse me, in early rounds. And that's because when you talk to pitchers about throwing to Taylor Edwards, they rave about her, how she's able to handle them in game, how she's able to handle them in the bullpen, how she calls pitches, how she receives. Every single part that it takes to be a great, well-rounded catcher is what Taylor Edwards brings, and she has so much experience, both internationally and then at the professional level. This is an absolute steal to get another catcher on this Blaze team. Remember, they had Kayla Kowalik. Now they add Taylor Edwards, that veteran back behind the plate, who will now be able to just teach others and spread some love of being a veteran pro player.
And I think the key is that you have a Kayla Kowalik and a Taylor Edwards together.
Yeah.
So now you have the ability to have someone like Taylor Edwards behind the plate who can help someone like a Carly Hoover who maybe hasn't experienced the Athletes Unlimited feel. Even though it's back to the traditional way of playing the game, there's kind of a way you got to learn what Athletes Unlimited is about and the players and all the things. So when you have that confidence with someone behind the plate and Taylor Edwards, it just gives you this 2-against-1 mentality in the circle and gives you this confidence. So I completely agree with Dana Sorensen. Like this is a late steal, big time. So I was surprised she didn't get drafted sooner, just with her history as far as the knowledge behind the plate, how much pitchers do enjoy getting the opportunity to throw to her. But I mean, you look at Carly Hoover and Alicia Ocasio and Kaylani Ricketts, as well as Elena Vaughter. They're going to be able to work with probably one of the best in the game as far as being able to kind of be a detective behind the plate.
Well, and it's a yin and yang with Kayla Kowalik and Taylor Edwards because one has speed from the left-hand side, one has power, and it goes to show like this balance and diversity at every position and to be able to give different looks. If maybe one day they want to start Taylor Edwards because there's a certain pitcher tendency that is more beneficial to start a right-handed hitter, they can start Taylor Edwards. If it's more beneficial to start a lefty hitter, boom, put Kayla Kowalik back there. So there's ways to manage not only their pitching staff, but their offense with 2 different looks too.
Yeah, manage the offense not only just for one game, but also throughout the season, because you have to remember these teams are going to be playing each other a multitude of times. So you want to be able to give different looks at your opponent to keep them on their toes. So I think that versatility is so important. And we have 4 picks left. The final round starts now. The pick is with the Volts, and the pick is in. This is round 12, pick 45. Let's send it to the Volts.
With the next pick, the Volts pick infielder Sierra Romero. A veteran, strengthens our infield, so intelligent about the game. We're excited to add her to our roster.
Yeah, this is a big name going in the last round. I'm sure Sierra Romero was sitting there thinking, like, am I going to get drafted? I mean, you're in the final round, right? There's a lot of big names on this list waiting to be drafted who have played a lot of professional games, and Sierra Romero is right under that category as well. But like Kat said, she can hold down the infield. She can bring that knowledge up at the plate, a hard worker. She sees things in pitchers and tendencies and being able to make adjustments in game and inning, but then also just make in-at-bat adjustments herself. This is a veteran player, a lot of history, a lot of college accolades as well. It's a great pickup in this last round.
And this is someone that I would want to step up more for me offensively, right?
Yeah.
Like you look at Sierra Romero, you look at the history of the player that she was at Michigan, you know, National Player of the Year back in 2016, like the iconic run Michigan did have. She's a player that I expect to hit, you know, in the 300s, right? She hit over 400 at Michigan. Definitely went through the ringer in the injury department, right? Like hurt her knee, had multiple surgeries. So getting to watch this young lady come through the trenches to get back to be playing professional softball is something to be admired, right? Like you can either choose to go down two roads, poor me, or I'm gonna get back to where I need to be. This is what makes me tick. So I've always appreciated watching Skylar Wallace and Sierra Romero nonstop on social media, competing against each other and training together, right? You have this rookie and this senior that are like going at it, and I love that stuff. That's the stuff that you think about late in a season, that you remember when you're tired and the body's hurting and you're a little bit older. What have I done to get me to this place? So that to me stands out, and I'm glad that Sierra Romero got drafted.
I know it's something you talked about, both of you, her off-season grind, and I think when you talk about those in-season nicks and knacks and you get banged up, a player like Sierra Romero can breathe resilience into her teammates, which is so good to have. And we've got a few more picks left. I know the stress levels are high. There's so much talent still left on the board, but here's what the Bandits have done so far with the 12th and final spot in this draft for the Bandits. They're still on the clock, making their decision. It is coming in, and these are the moments. I mean, 3 spots left. And again, we had over 80 talented players. It's coming.
Well, and you know, a lot of this comes down to, too, how the rest of the picks have played out.
Yep.
And because the rest of the picks have dictated the Bandits picks and each of these teams' picks. So there's a lot of talented players left that maybe if the picks would have fallen a different way, they would have gotten chosen earlier. But it's just like so much is dependent on the pick in front of you and the decisions that they're making that we're finally here, these final picks, and there's not a lot left.
Yeah, not a lot at all. We've got 48. We are now sending it out to 46th, round 12. 46th pick is with the Bandits.
Bandits are going to round out this roster tonight with a little bit more speed, a lot like my game, very fast, making sure that we bring in an outfielder, Bella Dayton.
I love the self-promo in that, Jenny Dalton Hill. Like, I'm bringing me to this roster, but exactly what are they getting here?
Okay, well, we know that Jenny and Stacy were the big bopper home run hitters, and Bella Dayton is going to show them, I think, what speed looks like a little bit. And I just like the way that Bella Dayton is a hard-nosed player. Going to cover a lot of ground in the outfield, going to bring that left-handed versatility and speed. And I think that, you know, we haven't had a chance to watch her play in AU, and I think that this, again, is a really good get. Somebody who is fresh off of her college playing days and will cover a lot of ground. I think she's the type of player that plays with something to prove. That's why she has that hard-nosedness about her, and I like that she adds that piece to this team.
And she was known for being postseason Bella.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you think of the run the last couple of years that Texas was making, right? Like, in the pressure type of situations that she was up against. You think about that Texas A&M series that you were calling. Like, there's so many cool moments that you remember Bella Dayton being able to step up in. And I couldn't agree more. I like a rookie going in this type of a situation, right? Like, bring someone new in, bring someone that has that kind of swagger about themselves, that confident player, someone who's been able to step up big in those pressure cooker moments in the postseason. Because I do feel like that's where you see athletes shine, right? The postseason brings another level of competition. Who's going to rise to the occasion? And I feel like I've seen Bella Dayton do that. So this is a good addition to the Bandits.
Well, and you're at this point, you guys, too, and I think that we've been at this point. It's moving so fast, so we haven't had time to mention it. But you're really starting to weigh the options, too, between what you have left on the board in this player pool and also the college draft that's going to be so important. 5 pitchers on every team, and you have to look, who are the senior pitchers who are going to be graduating that I could potentially get? And somebody like the Volts, who are going to go from the number 4 pick in this allocation draft to the number 1 pick in the college draft. They're all thinking about that ahead of time too, with who's going to be a senior that could potentially fill some holes here, and the pitchers, like the pitchers who are left versus the pitchers who are coming out, they're weighing all of these things to make the best decision to win now. The coaches told us, the GMs told us, Danielle, they don't want to win later. They're not looking 2 or 3 years down the road to the point that maybe some draft boards are being looked at. They want to win now. They want to win this summer. They want to set a foundation and a culture that has that winning mindset, and that's why it's so important to get this right.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first season of this league. This is the foundation. It means something to be the first, right? To be the first pick, to be the first champion that is crowned in this league. All of those things are so important as the Blaze round out their roster with their 12th pick. This is what they've done so far. Started things off with Carly Hoover. We will see how they finish off their roster from this inaugural draft, round 12. Pick 47 is with the Blaze.
Our final pick is outfielder Kaylee Harding from Florida State University.
Rounding out their roster with an outfielder that, Danielle, you said is super fun to watch.
And she's had some clutch at-bats, I think, in Athletes Unlimited, right? And Kaylee Rafter is my girl. I love Kaylee Rafter. She coaches at Florida State, was, our catcher for Canada. And I had a conversation with her earlier today. I'm like, you think someone like Kaylee Harding's going to get drafted? And I know that Raf has a good connection a little bit with Dana Sorensen and Goler, and I just felt like it could be the potential perfect storm if there is an open opportunity to be able to get someone like that, because Rafter talks highly of someone like Kaylee Harding. So, you look at her 18th is where she came in that 2024 AUX out of all those players as a rookie too. So I remember a couple big home runs that I saw her hit. So just kind of scratching the surface maybe at where she can go in the professional game.
And these teams in this last round making some decisions for some younger, maybe more unknown players over some players with a lot of history. I think of Vic Hayward still being on the board, as well as Megan Wiggins. They've played hundreds of games, but I feel like these coaches and these GMs are making decisions that are saying, we want some youth right now, and we're not completely done yet, but with Kaylee Harding and Bella Dayton getting chosen this last round, I think that that's speaking to the youth that these coaches are wanting to build off of in the future.
Yeah, and the idea that this is a league that is here to stay, and this is a league that is going to have longevity, and you have pieces that they hope to be with these franchises throughout history and for a long time to come. And we are making history tonight. We are almost finished because there is simply 1 pick left. Possibly the most complicated pick in the entire draft, the last one. It is with the Talons. They started out with Megan Faremo. This is what their team currently looks like. I know, Amanda, you've talked about the college draft. Still pieces to fill in, but as far as this 12, and kicking things off for the season with these 12 talented players, we get the last one for the Talons, and we send things out round 12. Pick 48 is with Lisa Fernandez.
And with the last pick of the night, the Talons select 2020 Canadian Olympian Victoria Hayward.
Someone you just mentioned, Amanda, talking about.
Yeah, and I mean, the funny part about this is that she wears number 1 because she was the first ever player to sign with AU, and here she is in this brand new league as the last player to round out this new traditional format. So just kind of a full circle moment for the night, like the kind that you just kind of look at and think, wow, like this really kind of sums it up. But she brings the experience. She's going to be a mainstay in the outfield, which is something that the Talons were needing to fill in with next to Maya Brady and Caroline Jacobson. So knew that they were likely going to go with an outfielder here, and they chose to go with more experience. And of course, she's left-handed, and her hits from the left-hand side consistently gets on base, brings speed and experience.
Yeah, and I think that kind of slap game too. Like you will see her go to that soft slap when need be. And if I'm being honest, I think taking out the point system model and going back to the team aspect is going to be key, right? Like, this is an important piece that now it's not so much about what I do to level myself up in the point system. It's like, hey, when I get an out but I move that runner over, like, that's putting the team in a position to be successful, and I have to cheer on the small victories. So I think this is a cool opportunity for Vic to be able to go play with, you know, someone like Lisa Fernandez, who, you know, is the GOAT and the big dog, and what she says goes, and someone like Howard Dobson and his experience with Team USA. I think that this is a good opportunity.
Yeah, an amazing opportunity, not just for Victoria Hayward, but for all 48 women that have been selected so far. What an incredible night. We're going to bring in another one of these women in Montana Fouts. Montana, first of all, thank you for joining us. Congratulations. We have talked all night about how incredible of an opportunity this is for all of these players, but how would you describe what this opportunity means to you?
I mean, what an honor, first of all, just because I remember when I was 7 years old saying that the first thing I wanted to do was be a professional softball player. So one, I'm just really honored. Two, being able to play with mates that's on the list. I mean, I can't even begin. I'm just glad that they're on my team. Let's say that. So I'm really excited to get going, and I'm really happy for all the women.
Montana, right now for the Talons, you guys have Charlize Palacios back behind the plate. What are your thoughts about getting a chance to throw to her?
I'm so excited. I mean, I had the chance to get against her some, but just finally being able to have somebody like her. I know that it's been a long time just since I've been able to compete. Last summer was just a little bit, so just being able to have her call the game. I know she's extremely intelligent, so I'm really excited for that.
You know, Montana, I'm sure the GM, Lisa Fernandez, has not forgot the perfect game that you threw against them in Oklahoma City, because everyone remembers that. But what excites you the most about getting the opportunity to potentially learn from someone like Lisa Fernandez?
I can't even put words to that, honestly. I mean, what an honor that's going to be, but then not only work with her, but the other pitchers on the staff. I'm so excited to get to learn from her and all the rest of the pitchers.
You know, Montana, we've talked about all of the young girls that idolize you and watch you, and if you could just think forward of what you hope this league looks like for all of those young girls, how would you describe what that looks like in your mind?
Just competing. I mean, keep believing that that's a thing. Softball has taken to another level. Just know that it continues after that, and you can be and do anything that you put your mind to.
Well, you have inspired so many, and you will continue to inspire so many as a member of this league in its inaugural season. Congratulations again. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys so much.
So cool. It's so cool, and it's so special, not just for the players that we got to talk to, for every player that was selected, even every player that was considered to be a part of this league as it kicks off. We have the foundation. The teams have their foundation. How do you two feel?
I feel so excited, Daniel. I know that's an overused word, but I don't know any other way to put it. Like, I'm excited to see these games. I'm excited to see these teams come together. I'm excited to see these players grow, because so many of them playing international ball have hopes of playing 2028 Olympics and represent different countries too, and what that means for the sport to develop as individuals that will not only make their professional teams better, but make their international teams better, and even make the Olympics better. So excited for all the different angles of this coming together. But I mean, I think at this point, we just want to get game one going. Maybe not the GMs and the head coaches, but let's get to June, huh?
Yeah, the parity of this league is going to level everybody up, right? And as a Canadian, I can sit here and love, you know, Team Canada, but like when you look at Team USA, and these women are going to get the opportunity to compete, you know, every single summer, potentially until 2028, if their Olympic team allows it. Like, this is only going to sharpen that toolbox to put them in a position to host in 2028 to try to fight and win back that gold medal, right? Japan owns it. So, you know, when you have someone like Lisa Fernandez and Stacey Newman and all of these, you know, GMs and coaches that are involved, that is in the forefront of their mind, right? Like, this league is where we want kids to aspire to go. But the Olympic level is a big deal too. And you heard Coach Fernandez talk about that. She goes, there is nothing like being an Olympian. I want to help give these athletes the opportunity to potentially do that. So it's growing that piece, which I think is super special about this league as well. I mean, it's a historic day for the sport, right? Some hearts are broken and some careers may feel like they're ending tonight. It doesn't mean that you can't continue to keep knocking at the door. If that's what you feel, sometimes when you get told no, you have every opportunity to say, okay, well, I'm going to go to work, right? So just want to at least make sure that the athletes that didn't get that opportunity, it doesn't mean you haven't had a hell of a career and you can't continue to keep still playing if you're willing to work hard enough.
Well, and let's think about too, like how put together and the investment again that Athletes Unlimited is into this league as we move forward, to where maybe players in the past had to worry about the next meal or travel or just things that as a professional player you don't want to have to worry about. You want to focus on your game, developing, getting better for your team, and winning and competing. And because of what Athletes Unlimited has put together with the investment and all the different positions back behind the scenes, from social media to taking care of food and travel and all of that, they don't have to worry about all of that. They can go out and be professional players and become the best versions of themselves for their team. And I think that cannot go unsaid enough, that this truly is day one of what can be the future of the history of this league.
And the maternity piece. I say that because a lot of times as female athletes, you think having a baby means that you stop playing. I love that they really consider that piece as well.
The players are proven. The foundation of Athletes Unlimited is proven. All of the GMs are proven as well with their success. Thank you all so much for joining us, to the GMs and coaches. Best of luck to you in your season. The college draft will be this spring. There's news about that coming soon. The historic first pitch of Athletes Unlimited Softball League will be thrown on June 7th. We'll have at least 30 games on ESPN, complete coverage of all the games of the inaugural season as well. We say good night. Thank you so much for joining us. You too, Amanda, Danielle.
You're the
no
best.
one better. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone tuning in. We'll see you in June.